Welcome to Heroes Have Wings, the podcast that gives a voice to the unsung heroes of Army aviation. I'm your host, Jason Santiago. For the Army aviators, crew chiefs, and flight medics who put it all on the line in the heat of battle, this is their opportunity to share untold stories of courage, sacrifice, and unbreakable will. From their beginnings to the battlefield, you hear about their hardships, the moments of doubt, and how they overcame impossible odds to save lives. These warriors didn't just fight for survival, they put others above themselves, embodying the true spirit of heroism and selfless service. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Heroes Have Wings. Today's guest was born into the Army life, an Army brat with Superman as his hero and the world as his backyard. But his path to the cockpit wasn't easy. He survived the helicopter crash in flight school, then went on to earn a Distinguished Flying Cross for his heroics on the battlefield in Afghanistan. He's commanded 2 companies, faced a brutal physical and mental toll of war, and stands tall as a full-time dad and a devoted husband. On his wrist, the words, "Show me a hero, and I'll write you a tragedy." Today, you'll hear the battles, the scars, the unbreakable will of a man who's proved that real heroes never stop serving. Michael Connelly, welcome to Heroes Have Wings.
Hey, it's great to be here. I'm really excited. I've been looking forward to this for weeks now. Thanks to finally hearing about it and getting to watch your show. I love it.
How you doing today, Mike?
Doing pretty good. It's summer, so I have my girls. They keep me very tired.
Yeah.
Very tired. But today is a activity-less day, and I'm going to enjoy it by being on the show.
Nice. Well, I'm super excited to have you today. You and I, we met through Johnny Cuteman, one of our good friends and buddies. He said, "Hey, Jay, you know Michael Connelly?" I was like, "No, I'm not familiar." He's like, "Man, I'm going to link you up with him. I think he has a great story, and I think he'd be a great guest for this show." And that's when I reached out to you, and here we are today.
Yeah, me and Johnny, we started flight school at the same time. We both came in as AMED officers, so we both went to OBC together, went to flight school together, and finished all that up, and switched out. And we ran into each other a couple of years throughout our career. But yeah, no, Johnny, it's a small world when you come down to the dust off side of it. When the commission officers, especially when you're dealing with less than a total size force from brand new commissionees to 06s, you're dealing with this force structure under 400 people. It's pretty easy to get recognized.
Yeah. And we're going to get into all of that. So let's get it started. Quick hit. Coffee or energy drinks?
Ooh, energy drinks all day long. Coffee is probably the devil's brew. It is disgusting. My wife drinks like 3 or 4 cups a day. I can't stand the taste. I don't even really like the smell.
Yeah, I can't drink coffee at all. So I don't know how people drink it all day either. City life or country living?
Oh man, country. Take the country, but it would have to be like upgraded country. Like I'm not doing my own milking cows and raising chickens. I like right now I live in the mountains. I love living away in the mountains, but I still have everything that I need. But no, I can't handle really big cities. I'm a really bad driver. I hate curbs and things. I'm not great at it.
Summer heat or winter cold?
Ooh. I will go with winter cold. I'm gonna go with winter cold. Yeah. Just because I think you can adjust to it. You can add more layers or kind of adjust like that. But when you're dripping in sweat and you got a t-shirt and shorts on, there's not much else.
I agree. Movies or books?
Movies, definitely. I wish I was a more avid reader. I just haven't picked up a good book in a while, but I can watch movies all day long.
Dog person or cat person?
100% dogs. We had 2 cats at one point, and now we're on our 8th dog as a family. So yeah, we're a dog family through and through.
Nice. Beach vacation, mountain retreat?
Mountain retreat all day long. I just came from the beach and couldn't stand it. My girls are all like, "Oh, we're gonna go to the beach in actual sand." I was like, "I'm gonna stay here with my father-in-law, make sure he's okay."
Yeah, it's funny. I don't like the beach either, man. I don't like the sand. I don't like
sand. It's everywhere. It's hot.
I agree with you 100%. You wake up early, stay up late?
I do both. I don't sleep great at all, but if I have a choice, I would like to sleep in late and go to bed late.
Okay. Action movies or comedies?
Oh, it's so hard to tell. I would say if an action movie with some comedy in it. I mean, you got there's so many good actors out there nowadays that can throw these things together. I think you can find a little happy medium of both. But if you're on a down day, sometimes a nice happy TV show is all you need.
Yep. Camping or road trip?
I hate camping.
So do
Oh
I.
man, the army ruined that for me so bad. Like everything fun about camping disappeared in my life in the army. So yeah, road trip for sure.
Texting or calling?
Oh, what was that one again?
Texting or calling?
Texting or calling? It depends on what I want to get done. Like just to fiddle around, I'll text all day. But like when I get mad, if my wife will send me a text to call somebody or text me to text somebody else. I'm like, well, that was just as simple as doing it yourself. So, however, I'm just going to cut the middleman and I'll just pick up the phone and I'll make a call and I'll just be like, I'm done with the issue. I don't have to wait for some response. And so business wise, phone, calling them. Everybody else, they can just take my text away from me to reply.
I get it, man. I get it. All right, so let's get it started. Where are you born and raised from?
I was born in El Paso, Texas. Fort Bliss. Oh yeah. Parents were there together, married and stationed there. And they went ahead and had me. Luckily I remember nothing of it. Thank God. I was out of there by the time I was like 6 months old to a year. But I get to say I'm a Texan born through and through.
Nice. Now, your parents were they both in the military or just one of them?
They were. So my dad, he's a year older than my mom, so he went in first and he did ROTC 2-year scholarship. He worked himself through, he was the first one to go to college in his family. He went to UConn, University.
Really?
Yeah. And
I'm from
so
Connecticut.
oh, are you really?
Yeah, born and raised in Connecticut.
Oh, my family's from my dad's from Waterbury. My mom's all from New Haven and Orange.
Really?
Yeah,
I'm from Bridgeport, Connecticut, so it's all close.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's really cool.
That's real cool.
Yeah, so he went to 2 years of scholarship he was able to pick up for UConn, finished there. Then my mom, she was doing nursing, and then she was paying for nursing, or her father was paying for to go do nursing. And then at the end, someone was like, hey, there's this thing called the Army you could join and help soldiers. And she's like, that sounds pretty cool. And when she gets in, someone's like, if you would have just done this ahead of time, they would have actually paid for your school.
Yeah. So your mom, she's from Connecticut too?
She is, yeah. She's from
Nice.
Orange County, right out of New Haven.
Yeah, man, that's pretty neat, man. I think you're the first person on the show where your parents are from Connecticut, so that hits home
Oh,
pretty.
makes me special. I'll take it.
Yeah, that hits home pretty well. Now, how did your parents enjoy being in the military, and did they retire?
Yeah. Oh man, did they enjoy it? So, like any career, you have your ups and your downs, and you're gonna get to see all that stuff. But man, I think we had a great life. We really did. We were somewhere else. Every 2 years of my life, we were somewhere else, and not even somewhere else. We were in different countries. So I went from Texas to the next 2 years spending in Busan, Korea, where we adopted my sister. And from there, we went to Fort Lee, Virginia. We were there for 3 years. My brother was born there. After Fort Lee, we went to England. So I got to go to England. Oh, no, we went back to Korea again. I'm sorry, Korea. For first and second grade there, in Taegu, Camp Walker. And then we went back to England. So I did third and fourth grade in England in a pretty private British school. So I got my proper stuff down. I can do a dress mess, and I can eat with all my utensils. And I from there we went out to Saudi Arabia. We lived in Saudi Arabia for 2 years in Riyadh. From there we went to Germany, Wiesbaden. My dad took his battalion command there as a logistics guy, and then 2 years after that, his command got cut short real quick to send him right to the War College at Carlisle, Pennsylvania. He did his time there, and 2 years, did a year on staff, did a year of school. And we got sent to Korea, Camp Walker again, Taegu. So I had the honor of being in my class. Mind you, my senior class has 19 people in it now. But I have a yearbook from first and second grade is in the library that has me in it, and a yearbook that has 11th and 12th grade with me in it. I was not the only one that came back. We were about 3 or 4 of us that all ended up exploding across the universe and then all meeting back for 11th and 12th grade again somehow.
Did you know immediately going through all this with your parents? Did you know immediately that you wanted to join the military?
My dad made it very, very clear that there is no way on God's green earth that he's paying for college.
My mom did the same thing. Don't worry. It must
And
be that
that was
Connecticut
it.
thing. Yeah.
That's what it came down to. It really wasn't like, what do I want to do? I was like, what can I afford to do? And no one's going
Exactly.
to give me a cent. So, well, someone's going to give me a cent. My best idea is like, I tried to get some other scholarships and stuff. Those might add up to like $6,000. That would have got me nowhere.
Yeah.
Some pancakes. But I mean, yeah, it was Army or find some loans and do all that. And I was like, man, that seems like a lot of work. I'd probably just be really good at what I'm doing right now, get into the Army and be good at that way.
Now, did both your parents retire from the Army?
They did. So my mom, she was active duty nurse for a while. When we had kids, she switched over to the reserves, and she finished up 26 years of reserve service. So she was a retired lieutenant colonel nurse. My father, he did, after coming back from Korea, he went back to the war college and he ran their fellowship program where he sends students to like Harvard or Yale or all these. So when he finished his 30 years there, he retired, and like the government likes to do, they turned around and hired him to do the same job, only a lot less pay. So he just continued to do that. I think he was, I can't remember when he finally retired, but he was on active duty when I got commissioned. He was on active duty when my sister got commissioned. So he was on he did his 30 years, and then he did his government on top of that. So he's finally retired from both.
What did he retire as? His rank?
Oh, he was a colonel of 06. My mom was a lieutenant colonel. Yeah,
That's real good. Now, growing up, watching your parents being military officers, how did that shape pretty much the decisions you made when you decided to join the military and enter the military?
to me, it felt natural. I guess when you're like I would explain it now. If I went into a place of work, besides having any other like issues, I would just probably be out of my element for a little bit, trying to figure out what's going on, what's happening with them. And the way we grew up, it was pretty secondary nature to just kind of slide into an Army presence and excel, if you could, and it just made sense. It just, especially when, we're living in Korea and it's 2001, and in the middle of the night, your dad comes running in, grabs you guys out of bed, throws you on the living room floor, and you're watching the towers come down. Like that I don't know. We were 18 years old. That's a wake-up call.
So let's talk about that 9/11, how that whole sequence of events went, and how was your dad feeling and your mom feeling, both of them being in the military at the time?
Oh man, they were. I mean, I couldn't believe all of us, the way we felt, just because we lived on Camp Walker. So all the kids were all the same. All the parents were all Army. Everyone was kind of going through this as a family. Um, the tragic amount of loss of life and damage, and just the total discare for life. It was just awful to see. And then, my dad was spooled up real quick, and he was out to Seoul, nonstop. So he would be in Seoul like every week, nonstop, back and forth. And then as we watched our town, they started, fortifying our compound. So we've got big fences going up. We've got razor wire going up. I've got Humvees with 50 cals aimed at the front gates now. We're sitting there. Everything's getting really locked down, and you're still just trying to go to school for a year. And then, so all this stuff is happening. And it's getting real crazy. And it just seemed like something had to be done about it. And just looking around us, just as military brats, and across our class, I would say probably over 60% of us joined up.
Now, with your mom and dad, their extensive military career, did they serve any combat time?
We were just the time in Saudi. We were there, operational time. Not combat, as combat arms is related, combat time versus Kuwait time versus all those other times. But yeah, imminent danger or whatever, but no combat time.
So is it safe to say that you went to college at Penn State?
Is it safe to say? I don't know. Is it safe to say? Is it safe to say?
We'll take that as an emphatic yes.
Then I had to have someone custom build me this fine piece of work here.
Nice. Got the carpet too.
Got everything. Oh yeah, I think it's pretty safe to say I went to school at Penn State.
So did you attend their ROTC program as well?
I did, and the best thing about it is, so I'm going to high school in Korea. I've been in Pennsylvania where my dad was in the War College before. I spent 2 years living in Carlisle, and I had gone to a Catholic school in another town, and I was going back and forth, whatever. So I didn't really like the area. I really like nothing to do with Pennsylvania. But then I got to Korea, and some kids were like, "Yeah, Penn State, that sounds like a cool school. Let's do some applications." I'm like, well, can't be that hard. I already have an essay written. Let me just copy paste the sucker in there. So I had never even seen Penn State or had any idea what Penn State was. No idea about Penn State football. You could have told me Joe Turner. I would have been like, I don't know, Joe Potato. Who are you talking about? So, yeah, I got picked up for the West Point gig, and then that gave me access to any school I wanted, school of choice. So ended up going over to Penn State, checking them out, and did an interview with the guy, saw the campus, fell in love, and couldn't have been happier.
So I caught something you said. You did get accepted to West Point and you turned it down?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, absolutely. I'll never go there.
Any particular reason, or just
I knew a lot of West Point cadet people I grew up that either went, or that either their dads or they're not a lifestyle that I wanted any part of at all. Yeah,
that's understandable.
They're great people.
Yeah. So before we move on to your military career, who are some of the most pivotal people, most important mentors in your life?
Silly as it sounds, the most important mentor, advice, guidance, structure, life coach would happen to be this dude right here. If I can get him around. This is a Superman tattoo, and I got another one up here. But
nice.
So that is my number one mentor. So since I was 2, at least, probably, my mom would see me running around in red boots and blue shirt, red underwear, and with her mix of being in medical in the background, my dad's mix of logistics and things like that. I honestly, for the longest time, I was like, there's got to be a way that I can be Superman. There has to be a way for me to be able to do this. I can find a way to fly around and help save people when they're in danger and get them to safety. And I was able to find that, and that was it. It was like life's fruition coming true.
I joke with people when I ask people, if you had one superpower, what would it be? And they tell me, and then I always respond back, well, I do have a superpower. And they say, what's that? I said, I know how to fly.
Yeah.
They go, for real? I'm like, yeah, I'm a helicopter pilot. So
yeah.
Have you seen that new Superman movie?
I have seen it twice.
Let's go. Yeah, I just saw it a few days ago. It's pretty good.
So at Myrtle Beach, one of those the new seats they have, the D box or whatever, that like
the
rock show,
4DX.
4D show, yeah. So I watched one of those, and then 2 days ago, I took my oldest daughter, my wife, went to go see it with me down here once we go back to town.
Nice. It was good, man.
I love the dog, so
I was laughing when I was at the 4DX watching it. Those chairs shake so violently that I had a bottle of water inside of the cup holder. That thing went flying out of there. So I was like, man, this is pretty intense, but it was a good experience.
Especially with every single smash, you get like a Superman strength smashing into the take it off.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. How was your experience doing ROTC at Penn State?
Oh man, I had a great time doing it. I mean, I met those are the friends I have for life. My four roommates and stuff there. They're the ones I talk to every day on text, regardless of what's going on, no matter how stupid it might be about something, but we'll talk. We'll send a mime, or I'll send a picture of a vanity plate that looks stupid and be like, hey, look at this jacket. It's always something, but going through RTC was really great. I highly excelled. I was front of the class for starting in the very freshman year. There's this real dorky thing they call Ranger Challenge that people go through, and it's just a bunch of physical, mental exams and tests. And I was the only freshman on the senior team, so I was pretty good. That's how I stood out, made my mark, and I was right at the beginning of the year. From then on out, I kind of just took into a more prominent leadership role. I think within the group of friends, just a lot of it just having to deal with my knowledge of the Army solely just from living it for so long. Not necessarily the technical skills, but the Army life, the values, the core that make it up. Like you can, with those you can input information into it, and you can make anybody. So that was great. So we got our school slots and things, and I got selected to go to airborne school, mountain warfare school, and air assault school. So yeah, I did mountain warfare school first. That was probably the coolest thing I have done, school wise in the Army. Learned so much. Came out of that, went to jump school, did those, and as I was there, I guess one of the other cadets was complaining that I was going to too many schools. So they said, "Hey, Mike, we're gonna have to stop you mid route here. When you're done jumping, we're gonna need you to come back." And I could chance to finish air assault school. So I was like, well, that's probably something not too hard to pick up down the road if I really need it. But
With both your parents, real quick, with both your parents being retired officers, or still at the time they're still in, how much of a competitive advantage did that give you amongst your peers?
uh, with them in, I don't think there was really much going on that could help me. If I knew, I'll say that the biggest advantage it gave me is that my comfort level and ability to be around people of senior rank was probably unmatched compared to everybody else. Because I had spent trips, I had been on the back of Blackhawks, I had been on Black with C-130s with general officers and things like that, and just doing my job, just talking to them like they're people that wake up and put their pants on one day at a time. So to me, it really is, I never had this like standoffish, like, oh my God, there's General so and so. I was like, yeah, what's going on, man? So that I think was my biggest leg up.
At what point during college did you realize you wanted to do aviation? I know you had the inspiration from Superman, but with your parents, one being medical, the other one being logistics, why didn't you pick those career fields? And what really led you to do the medevac? I know you said you want to save lives and fly around, but was that the sole reason, or were there other reasons behind it?
So the logistics route to me just didn't seem as something as, so me and my dad, we love each other to death, get along great people. We are exact opposites. He's on time, I'm late. He's packed, I'm not packed. I'm totally disorganized. He's got this down. He's planning to move. He's been planning 6 years ago. He bought a house here in Huntsville when I got here. He has been planning to move slowly until last year. He's finally like, okay, this is it. I'm finally putting a hard date at the end of it, of 2026, 20, something like that. And he's got this backward plan, like almost to the hour of when things are going to disappear from his house. Like, oh, somebody will show up and take this big old couch that I can't carry down the stairs. And it's ridiculous. Router's been like, I don't know, whatever. And Friday beforehand, I'd be like, hey, I'm going to move my house. So we're very, very opposite. So I couldn't see me doing the loggy thing. My mom and I were very, very similar. We're very empathetic people by nature. That whole side of the family is we are emotional beings. We are criers. We are huggers. We feel the feels, and I feel it now with my oldest daughter, who has the same personality type, and it's hard to live with when they feel that much. But so I had that kind of stuff going for me, and then the aviation, you fly, you got to do what you got to do, but at the same time, there's an order of merit list for everything that comes out, so you don't know what everyone's gonna put as what they want to do first. So if your money's on the wall, you're like, maybe there's gonna want to be a lot of aviators this year. If I don't make it in the top third, will I get that? Will I get a different branch? My biggest fear was being rebranched to something I did not want to do. That would have been just the nightmare. If I would have joined up and they would have stuck me in infantry, I would have been like, you have got this completely wrong and we need to figure out a way to fix it. So if I went aviation, that could likely happen. If I got into a cockpit, or they said this eye was 2050, because they took the eye exam 5 times. One eye was 2050, one eye was 2020. It would just snake by. But if I got the rucker that happened, they needed the Army and send me somewhere I would never want to be. So if I went medical service corps, at least I'd be doing AMED stuff if I couldn't fly.
So, at what point during your college tenure did you realize you were going to be aviation?
They told us, we got our med service branches. It was right after our junior year. We're out in Washington, and we're doing these big competitions. We do every there's like 13 regiments. I graduated number 1 in my regiment, which was pretty cool. I gave me a cool sword. I got to hang up on my wall. And then, but it guaranteed me branch of choice too, which was great. So with that in hand, I could go on to med service, and then I took that packet and applied to flight school. So you're a branch medic service officer. This is it. It's all the people that want to apply, and it includes some of the active duty current year lieutenants that are in there. So they compete against the cadets as well. So the packets go in, you get sorted, you get selected for flight school. All your orders coming out of college change and where you're going, what you're doing, and then you go from there.
How did you feel being number 1, first off, and then being able to pick the med service, then getting selected for flight school? How accomplished and proud did you feel at those moments?
I was pretty proud of myself, pretty happy. I've also been the same person where I kind of like don't expect a lot of bad to happen. So like I'm always kind of like, yeah, that's gonna be fine. It's like, for example, my friends like to say I'm the unluckiest lucky guy in the world, because I'll be completely lucky. Like, we can talk about it a little bit later, but I had a helicopter crash. I walk out of it. The other guy, not so much. He survived, but like, I was pretty unlucky. But during that unlucky situation, I'm pretty damn lucky.
Yeah.
Like, the same thing with combat. How many times I'm just like, you can be next to me if you want. We're kind of bullet magnets, but I don't have any plan on getting shot.
How proud were your parents of you with all those huge accolades in the beginning of your young military career?
They were such good parents. They made sure, all 3 of us kids, my sister, my brother, and me, we all had a healthy relationship about competitiveness, about how to learn from mistakes, how to be good people in the world, kindness, morality. All these things, I think, came from a lot of their core values that led them in the Army. Like, if I had to think of like the most honest person that I could ever think of, I think of my dad. Like, I have not heard that guy utter some ill truths about anything, at least that he knows to be ill truth. And his integrity to me is unmatched. And my mom, her empathy for things, off the chart. Like, there's just no way. So I got a good mix. I got a really good mix. I got pride. I've got empathy. I've got love. I've had everything any kid could ask for. I had it.
With you having amazing parents like that, how do you think it shaped you to be the man you are today and help you be a great dad now?
Oh man, without a doubt. They helped shape me to a path of least resistance into being an adult. So I didn't have to, if I steered off the sides too fast, they'd catch me and pull me back in. They'd never let me fly too far out of the lane. And I did a lot of stuff that was definitely not in the lane. I was doing some cool stuff in high school. We were just like causing trouble because we were just American kids running around in Korea, and you can cause trouble and do a bunch of stuff like that. And but they kept me guided into there, and they got me to college. And once they got me straightened out, kind of helped me. And then as I needed guidance or structure in the Army, I was always somebody I could reach out to, be like, "Hey, this is a question I'm having. I know you probably have faced something like this before, like when we had the riff. You went through a major riff when they were majors, so just kind of these things that happen." And it was really nice to have them as resources.
That's great. That's me being a dad now. My oldest son is 25, and my youngest is 6. Yeah, my youngest is 6, and I'm realizing how important it is as a father to play that role in our kids' lives. And my job is to making sure that I'm leading, mentoring, showing them the right way to do things, and just giving them values. Now, those things are so important, and it's wonderful to hear that your parents provided you with those things as you grew up, and they kept you, within those boundaries. I think it's good for us as parents to, let our kids fall a lot, and then we just pick them up during the times that we really need to pick them up. But besides that, I think it's our responsibility as parents to make sure our kids are learning and bumping their heads while they're at home, because when they get out to the real world, they may not have us.
And that's what always worries me about like some of these kids now, where I see my friends and they get so isolated and so protected that I get worried. I'm like, life is not like this. You guys live special, like we're fourth generation military family, but like each thing has gone by. I was like, you guys won't be. I know you guys will not be going in the Army, and I can see that life right here. You're gonna hit this, this crescendo up here, and it's gonna come crashing down when things don't go your way. And when things don't go your way, what kind of resilience has been built into you from your core that's going to get you through it? Because I might not be there.
Yeah. Yeah, that's deep, man. But you're accurate, man. I think it is our responsibility as parents, and your parents did it for you. Our responsibility as parents to create some type of stress in our children's lives to create that resilience, right? Because once they leave home, we all know life is happening to everybody. So you're either gonna figure out how you're gonna deal with it, and hopefully your parents gave you a good foundation to build upon. If not, shame on a lot of parents that enable their children to do certain things and don't put them through those life lessons. But you know how it is, we all parent differently. So
we're all parenting the best we can, and there's always these times where I'm going to go to bed and I'm going to be so grateful that I parented well that day. I'm like, yes, I nailed it. Like, check mark. But there are so far more many days where I go to bed and I go, "Your God, please give me more patience with my kids. I just want to be a good dad. I feel like I'm being just this demanding, tyrannical robot."
I get it, man. I've had a lot of those prayers too. So just be present, man. Keep doing what you're doing. And how old are your children?
I got 10 and 6, and that's what's great about being retired, is that's my job, is them. They are my job. Like today, I had to do this. My day off was coordinating someone to go take her down to get her hearing aid molds fit. So sorry to have people fill in for me.
No, Mike, I agree with you 100%, man. I got my older children, and then I got my 6-year-old, and man, I tell everybody now, I am a full-time dad. What I love the most is taking my daughter to school, picking her up, spending time with her, and just making sure that I'm present with her, man, because
You're so lucky.
I know how fast they grow up. Because my older ones, man, they grew up in a blink of an eye. And now my 6-year-old, I try to capture all those moments and still try to build the moments with my older ones too. So
Yeah, that's a heck of a perspective you get to have, a 20-year spread. That's impressive.
but you raise them right. A good example this weekend past, my oldest son and my oldest daughter, they called me up and like, "Hey dad, come hang out with us." And I mean, that felt good as a dad. So I went and hung out with them for an hour or so. And I was just sitting back looking at my children like, man, these kids have grown up so fast.
Oh
And,
man.
but it's a blessing. So when you got to flight school, how are you feeling knowing that you excelled in pretty much everything in college, being number one, top of the class, doing great things? You get to flight school. Any challenges there, or were you just keeping that precedent going, top of the class, still dominating.
Keeping that precedent going, top of the class, dominant on everything I was doing, leading in hours, leading in skills, leading in academics, the works, all the way up until July 16th of 2007. It was a Monday morning. We were at High Bluff Stage Field. We took off, did a normal flight all the way there. No problems, no issues. Did some simulated engine failures, did some autos, just practice some roll-ons, some takeoff. But we were finished finally for the day. So my turn was to get out. So we come back down to High Bluff, the parking pads, and we go through the little shenanigans of popping who gets gas and popping yourself around. And we get gas and we lift up. And we do a left pedal turn. We come forward, and as we're going forward, I can see the other stick buddy coming, like opening the door, coming out, and we're flying up. And all of a sudden we hear we don't hear it, but we feel it too. The collective just comes back hard left, is so hard like it left a massive bruise in my left seater, my IP, his leg. So this thing comes crashing back. So as the nose goes up, the tail hits the ground. The tail strike pylon doesn't do anything. It just rips off. So the entire tail section rips off. So once the tail rips off, we were free for all, spinning upside down, over and over. So we made it all the way off the parking pads. One of the last things I remember before blacking out was seeing some sky, and then seeing some dark concrete, and seeing the grass that was right before the refuel pit. Because I was like, wow, if we hit this, we're gone. And so we hit it and we bounced over it. And I have pictures that show the divot. Like, here's this in-ground deep cement pit that runs all the fuel. And you can see where the helicopters came straight in and it just stopped. Like, like, oh my gosh, inches. That thing set the whole place on fire. But yeah, it's that was it. And I came, they looked like crash rescue was taking forever, but I was doing my emergencies, emergency engine shutdown. I get the battery off, everything else dripping in fuel. We're just kind of like trying to stay there. I look at my next guy. He's Steve Ferguson's his name. Great guy, multiple times in Vietnam and everything else. He's having a hard time breathing. Trying to get his helmet off for him, but I'm also trying to stabilize his neck. So I'm trying to like open his airway, make him not move, keep him stabilized. I'm trying to call out the window for help for the EMT guys to get here. They start working on getting us out, cutting us out, and then Flatiron's on the way. Flatiron grabs me out first. They take me up to Dothan, and I get evaluated there at Dothan. They're like cutting everything off you, stripping you down, running you through machines, the craziness of it. And then the other guy went straight to Birmingham. He went to Dothan quickly for a stabilization, and then got pushed up to Birmingham that night. From his left arm, as we rolled left first, got jammed in between the frame of the cockpit and the seat, and it was wedged in there that they had to cut it out. So that happened on a Monday morning. And then,
so real quick, Mike, I just want to get just a few details. What phase of flight training were you in? Were you still flying TH-67 or advanced aircraft?
TH-67, yeah.
So you guys were essentially, what was going on? You guys were hovering, and then there was
hovering. There's flight control malfunction. Yeah, we're hovering. They detected a couple extra pieces of chips in the oil, and so it caused a cycle card over. So it's just one of those things. Unlucky event. But yeah, so that happened, and then they kind of do your they're taking all your blood and your piss, making sure you're not doing anything, and they send me down to the clinic there. I don't remember which maybe it's, I don't remember what it was, but it's the aeromedical research place down there, and they have one of the counselors sits down with me, and she kind of goes over everything and just kind of tells me what my thoughts are on the process and everything else. And she goes down my folder, and this is of course a different time in the Army, and just writes, I have severe acute PTSD from this, and puts it back in my file. And then And then I'm still asking, like, what do I do? She doesn't know. So you got to talk to your instructor. He doesn't know. So like the day of the crash, nobody knew what to do with me. Like I was at Dothan Hospital. The chaplain was the one that could come up, I guess, to help with the witnessing of the blood draw that was taken by the flight stock. So they gave me a ride home in their car back to Fort Rucker, left me in the student parking lot because they're like, well, your car's out here somewhere, right? I'm like, okay. I'm like, what do I do? What do I do when I do it? Got a helmet in one hand by a strap, and like on this hand, like the clothes are all falling off because they're all covered in blood and oil. Like my uniform is like barely attached at the wrist. And I'm like, what do I do with this bag? And they're like, I don't know. You might want to just go check and see what your teachers say. You know, we don't have teachers back then. We had like the one commissioned officer in charge of it. So I started walking in there, and I walked down the steps to his basement, and I'm just kind of going there, and you just see his face stare at me as I walk in. And I just go, they tell me you need these. I don't know. What do you want me to do?
So you pretty much had like it was a complete loss of the aircraft, right?
Completely lost all distraction.
So you pretty much essentially had a Class A accident, and everyone didn't know what to do with you. They're just like,
Any idea? Any idea? Yeah. So, and I brought this stuff over to him. He's like, nah, you might want to just hang on to that. Maybe somebody else might want it some other day to collect it for some type of investigation or something. Oh, great investigation. But anywho, I went back home, and I didn't want to take the meds that they were going to give me because I would, put you from flying or whatever. So, Miller Lite's not on that list. So I made a couple Miller Lites. So like that night I was drinking, and my buddy he was flying Chinooks. He was my roommate in college at Penn State, and he was finishing up his day academics, and he didn't have to fly that night. So I asked him to pick me up, and I tried to explain to him what happened. I was like, look, man, I had this little accident. I need you to come get me. I need you to get me to Dothan Hospital so I can see if he's okay. So he comes, he picks me up, and we start driving, and he's like, all right, let's go by High Bluff Drive Field, heliport. And then as we go through it, he's looking for like the accident, and he turns over and he looks left, and he sees the shell, like this little eggshell left of this helicopter. He's like, holy fuck, Mike, I thought you meant like you knocked the skid off. I was like, no, man. There ain't no piece of that aircraft left.
holy shit.
So he was like, oh shit. So he got us up there. I got to see my flight stick buddy, and I got to see Mr. Ferguson come out of pre-ops or of his first surgery where they had his arm kind of to the best they could do, and sent him off to Birmingham. He ended up having to get that amputated that week in Birmingham. So while I was flying, so it was a Monday morning, so I wasn't flying. I was still kind of going to the academics in the afternoon. It was weather. And a lot of times I would skip, and I would just keep doing. But then we're from the era of a wonderful classical movie called Top Gun. So when something happens, you get them back up. And that's all I knew is, hey, this ain't going to keep Pete Mitchell down. I got to get back up. So Friday morning, I show back up at the airfield with a helmet and a new uniform. And I'm like, let's go do this thing. Like, all right, why not? Monday morning crash, Friday morning. Took my wife. My wife was in the middle of going from Kuwait to Iraq over the berm. And nobody told her this had happened. Like, I was the one who called her 2 days later. I was like, hey.
So your wife's in the military. Was in the military?
She was, yeah.
Where'd you meet your wife?
So I met my wife when we first got our OBC assignments and everything else, all your TDY route. Our first place that we went was Fort Knox, and that's where we teach cadets that were going from middle school up into their sophomore year. It's kind of like a condensed 2 years of ROTC smashed into one learning phase. We were on the ropes committee together. I was the XO for the river crossing, and she was on the rappel tower. So we all worked together. so we just like that. We just kind of knew each other for about a month, without anything, just acquaintances. And then July 4th, we're out at like 4th Street Live up in Louisville. We started dancing. She gives me a kiss. I asked her out for a date the next morning for coffee, and she said, sure. She met me. I was like, I'm marrying this chick. Knew it right away. Knew because it was just so funny. Like, I knew it even before that because I had thought about marrying her before she talked to me. Because we were in this room and we stand up, and she's in the front left corner. You stand up, give your name, where you came from, everything else. And she stands up, gives her name, and she says she's from Dickinson College. And then I think Dickinson is in Carlisle, Pennsylvania, where my parents live and where I did 2 years of school there and everything else. And I was like, what are the odds? Like, what? And she's the most beautiful woman I've ever seen, of course. So it's like all of this stuff flying together in the universe is just like, how did I get enough places from being first in a regiment to my first choice of duty assignment to my first choice of follow on assignment training to get put in this room on the same stream committee with this one woman who stands up and then says she went to Dickinson. Like, I mean, like the universe was exploding in my brain. They're like, oh my God, yeah, you love this woman for more than anything you know the rest of the world. So congratulations, get used to a life of it.
Man, that's crazy. So I want to go back to this accident. So you have this accident on Monday. The Army is, I don't know what's going on, if they're just worried about Mr. Ferguson so much and your stick buddy that Mike just pretty much falls underneath the radar.
They just don't seem to think it's that big of a deal.
Correct. And then on Friday, you're back on the flight line flying again.
Friday, I'm back on the flight line. I'm showing up. Everyone kind of looks at me as I walk through the door. I'm like, yeah, what's up, guys? Like, you got a tail number?
At no point was anybody like, hey, you're not, have you been cleared to fly? Are you medically good? None of that stuff came up.
None of that stuff came up. And then so the IPs all kind of got their heads together and they were like, we've never had anything like this happen before. So they were trying to like talk about it and what they were going to do. And they came up with, were like, well, I'll take him on his Sans re-eval ride. And, I guess everything else is fine. Like he asked me, like, you haven't been on any medication or anything? I'm like, no, I've just been drinking a lot, but didn't drink yesterday.
So that diagnosis that the therapist gave you, did that just fall to the wayside as well?
Fall to the wayside. Found it later when I was doing my records review for my VA physicals and stuff. Yeah, just completely ignored.
How did that accident, young in your aviation career, impact you, if it impacted you at all? Because that's a significant event.
Oh my God, I was freaking horrified. I hate flying. I can't stand it. Every single time. Like that's if anybody wants to say what my biggest strength is, it would be like loyalty and tenacity. Because like I hate flying. Can't stand it. Scares the shit out of me. Every time I'm in a bird, every time I'm doing anything, I feel a gust of turbulence. I'm terrified. So, but I'm doing it anyway. Doing it for thousands of hours. Just being uncomfortable to the point of like I would be getting out. I would want to dry heave. I'd be like, oh, get me out of this.
Yeah, that says a lot about your character, man. To go through an accident so young in your because I mean, hell, if you're flying TH-67s, you don't know anything about flying helicopters, and for you to have that significant event happen, you live through it, and now the Army pretty much doesn't even acknowledge the fact that you were in a Class A accident, and now you're just flying again. Yeah, and then you just push through for how long? How long did you fly for?
Man, I flew for 14 years, and then but it was because I went to see, that was the biggest one, was I went to see Mr. Ferguson in Birmingham Hospital, and he just had his arm amputated, and all he kept saying was, "Thank God it was me, not you. It's me, not you. Me, not you." He's like, "I already have grandkids." He's like, "I'm glad it's me. It's not you. You are here. You're going to continue. I need you to keep pushing through and do this. You're doing this for a reason." And if he didn't tell me that, I would have probably not been able to keep going. But when he told me I had to do it, and I did it because I'm expected to do it, and there's going to be a reason for me to do it. It might not become clear yet, but that I'll need to keep doing this. So that's what kept me going. That's what pushed me every single time I go out there for a pre-flight and get my butterflies in my stomach and start flipping over hatches and like shaky hands when I get in there, adding fluids or things to stuff. But yeah, you just pow away.
Damn, man, that's tough. That is tough. At what point did you realize we knew you were gonna fly Blackhawks because you're med service, but at what point did you realize what was gonna be your first duty station and what was it?
So my first time I figured out my first duty station was when I got married, because my wife Heidi was going to Germany first. So she had orders to Germany. I was marrying her, and then I had PCS for Rucker. So, I was already at Rucker, and then met her. So she went to Germany and then to Iraq. So I knew upon flight school graduation, I would be in the Married Army's couple program, and I would go ahead and I would join her.
What did your wife do in the Army?
She was a Signal Corps officer, computers. Yeah.
So you get to Germany. What was that like?
Oh man. So I had gone to middle school in Germany. So it was pretty cool being back. So I remembered a little bit. My wife, half of her family was German. Her mom's German. Her aunts and cousins on that side of her family were German, so she spoke fluent German. That was really handy. But we just did so much traveling and so much doing everything we could together. And then, because they got back from Iraq in September of 2008, and then because she was a different part of the brigade, she was a support battalion of the aviation brigade, and we were getting set up to go. So we only had 8 months between me getting to Germany and then her getting back from Iraq and then me going off to Iraq. So, we counted it up, and over the first 4 years of marriage, we had been together physically for 8 months.
How tough was that on your relationship?
It was hard, but I mean, I don't think if we weren't tested in that way, there's no way we still be gotten through the things that we've gotten through now as a couple.
How do you think you guys made it through that tough time? What was the most important things that you guys did, just to give some other people some advice that are dealing with, separation in the relationship? How did you and your wife get through that?
To me, it was, again, a huge emotional true love feeling. And like one person that I could trust to talk to about anything, one person I could rely on, one person I wanted to keep safe under all circumstances. So there was never any, I was like, to me, there was nothing that I was going to put above her. And I think that's the only place you're going to get to that at. And if you're willing to put, well, I could probably cheat this system here and lie or get about this over here, and that might get me ahead of her. That's not going to work. Like for me, if she needs it, she's going to get it, whatever support she wants from me. I don't care. And still to this day at 2 a.m. in the morning, I'm parched. Can I have a glass of water? Sure, honey. I'm getting up out of bed. I'm getting you your water.
Love it, man. Where were you stationed at in Germany?
So we were stationed in a couple places. My first place was Ansbach in Katterbach. So we were stationed there with the old 45th Med, first of the 158th. After that, we went to Iraq, and then from Iraq went to Afghanistan, and then back to Germany. But other than that, Germany we bounced around. It was we were in Mannheim for a little bit there. I did command there in Mannheim. We did Heidelberg for a little bit. We were in Rudesheim and Wiesbaden. So we spent 7 years in Germany with 6 different houses. Yeah.
That was my next question. So 7 years in Germany. When you got to your first duty station, did the IP, the stands department, did they know immediately that you had a Class A accident already in flight school, or is that something you had to tell them?
No, they knew. It was all part of the records. So they kind of come in, and they really don't make too much of it. They really just kind of go with whatever, don't really ask about it, because it's so far back to like, why was this effective anymore? But no, it was pretty straightforward, just integration. Yeah.
How fast did it take you to become RO1 and start flying missions?
In Germany, took me, it probably took me a good amount of time. It was probably a couple of months, because we were always covering Graf and Hohenfels for mission duty. So the very few IPs we had left to get us all up to RL2, those are hard to come by. So I think I probably pull that off in like 30 days. But then RL2 to RL3, you could actually go out to Hohenfels and Grafenberg and be part of the dirty crew and do practice flights out there. So you can get up a lot faster. So once we did it that way, it was pretty quick and everybody was up. All the lieutenants, we all came in right around the same time, so right around fall. And we were all up and flying before Christmas.
So you were a first lieutenant. How old were you at the time?
24. Yeah, 24, 23, 24, 24.
What year was it when you got to Germany?
2008.
2008. How soon did you find yourself deploying on your first deployment?
We were leaving June 2009.
And that's going to Iraq, correct?
Yep, we're heading to Iraq.
So how was that experience? You showing up to Iraq first time, 2009, you're about 25 at the time, 24?
Yeah, 25. I just turned 25 and well, my wife had just been for 15 months. So she was just kind of like giving me the ins and outs and like, all right, no, can't be that big deal. I lived in Saudi Arabia in my life. I'm like, I ain't just gonna be in the desert. It's gonna suck, but whatever. So you go to the desert, sit down. And we talk about places when we start splitting up medevac wise and the duty locations. So you might have our home base. I landed there with my good friend Dave Bierman. And him and I had this trailer, and we're like, "This is it. This is where we get this trailer. Like, it's pretty sweet living, man. Like, I'll take a container to live in." And then we're like, "Sorry, no, you guys are not staying in the main base. You guys are gonna go out farther away."
So you know Dave Bearden? Excuse me real quick.
I know Dave Bierman. Yeah.
Yeah, I know Dave. We were deployed in Afghanistan 2012 and 13. So
okay, yeah. So right after we came back, he went back again.
yeah, I know Dave very well, man. Him and I, man, I love that guy. He's somebody I'm trying to get on the show as well. But I think he's still in the Army right now, correct?
Yeah, yes.
He's still in the Army. So I do have his number, and yeah, I know Barry.
I saw a picture of his retirement paperwork. It's in. So he submitted it. He sent me a photo. We're in Iraq, and so we get moved out to Camp Korean Village out by the Syrian border, as far out as you can go. So we're just kind of out there all alone. And it'd be interesting because at night you always have to be within 1 hour of point of injury to get to the next higher level. That's how we kind of planned it out. Our flight route was 56 minutes from the time we left the FOB to get to the hospital exactly. If we were flying as fast as we can, and we just do it. And there was nothing out there. I mean, we're talking just the desert. And so, I mean, you'd have MVGs on, but I don't know what's the point of these. You're just someone's just looking at your instruments and just hoping nothing's going to happen to you. Stay low enough that no one's going to bother to mess with you. But it was easy. It was fun. It gave us all a good chance to get in shape. There was a nicer gym. The Marines had some nicer food. We had our NCO IC was able to get in good with the NCO IC of the mess, and they were able to do some flight trade-offs for lobster roll trade-offs. Keep the rivet supply going while taking guys up for joy rides or mandatory training rides. And so it was fun.
What was the op tempo like?
Iraq was not that fast paced. I mean, it was a lot of hurry up and wait. We had probably less than a few dozen missions while we were there, and mostly was for people not like really into active combat ticks. It was mostly just people doing stupid things. Like one guy decided to grab a thing of Freon with his bare hands and they sold it to the size of his face. I don't know. So people get bored in combat and they also get themselves hurt. So yeah, there's a lot of it that wasn't even that exciting. But I mean, we did do some exciting things though, because one of my favorite missions that we did in Iraq was we had to evacuate a guy from a tick, pull him out. The only way we were going to make it is if somebody else had tail to tail with us and we weren't going to be fast enough. So the Air Force had launched a C-130 and landed it out in a little airstrip in the desert that we met up to. It did tail to tail transfer out of the cockpit. So I got pictures of us leaning out and they're sending the guy from Arbor all the way up onto the C-130, and the C-130 takes off and takes the guy all the way home. That's pretty cool.
What was your most memorable, besides that, any other memorable moments about that deployment?
Iraq, it was just fun. Iraq still felt like being a kid. Where you had time to build some stuff, get your shack right, hang out with your friends, go fly, training missions if you have time. You can. It's just you're out. And it's just 8 of you, and you're just kind of like, all right, here's your close buddy group, and we're just gonna be out there. And the threat level is medium, moderate where we're at. It's not crazy. You're not freaking out about anything. So life was good.
Did you make PC out there?
I did not, no.
How long was that deployment?
We were there for, June, July, August, September, October, 5 months.
5 months. What was your biggest takeaway from your first deployment, combat deployment?
How to pack better, because we went right to Afghanistan. So we went from Iraq to Afghanistan. And so I think that was my biggest learning is trying to, I guess I was a better UMO. If I had a better unit movement officer, I think it would have been a lot easier for us because we were more in a hurry of shoving everything into a suitcase to get there, as opposed to like, hey, let's put it in delicately so we can pull it all out real fast when we get there. But I think we had our timing mixed up a little bit on how we got from one country to another.
So you didn't even go back to Germany. You went straight from Iraq to Afghanistan.
Straight on.
Damn. Yep. And how long were you in Afghanistan for?
Then we were in Afghanistan until June of the next year. So that was another, October, November, December, January, February, March, April, May. 9 months.
Damn, what was the morale like knowing that you guys are leaving Iraq, going straight to Afghanistan?
It was awful. It was awful. We started the whole deployment thing. We started with one FSMT was going to have to go bite the bullet and go to Afghanistan, and they already picked them and they knew what they were getting. And we'd even have like jokes about like when the FRG would be up there showing them what to expect, like lives in the tents of Iraq. There's like running water and there's stuff, and then they show like this picture of Afghanistan. It'd be like a guy in a tripod like blowing around in the snow. So we already sacrificed one group, and it was like, now it was our turn. We're like, oh boy, here we go, joining the 82nd Cap. Let's do it.
What year was this when you got to Afghanistan?
2009.
2009.
Fall of 2009, yep.
Where were you guys located?
So we all landed into Kandahar, and we were gonna control RC West. So at the time, RC West didn't have any type of native aviation assets that were for the Army, or medical evac or any of that stuff. So we went up and we would push and establish an outpost, and then kind of go and see if we could go to another one and set up another base and set up medevac sites at different places. So eventually get us all the way out across RC West. That took, it took us a while to get out of Kandahar. It was a lot of, getting the supplies right, getting the timing, the convoys, that's the one road. And our new main base was going to be Shindan. And so we got there, and it was really, honestly, it was a bunch of Afghan guys walking around with sticks, sucking them in the mud for anti-mine detection. What are they doing? Oh, they're looking for mines. You'll know if they find them.
Did a Behrman go with you?
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he was there. Yeah, he had a Witz Streeter Hawley built, and like, oh my gosh, this place is like, man, Apocalypse Now type of movie. This so over the edge, so carnival.
Was there any stark difference between Iraq and Afghanistan?
Holy hell. Oh my God. I can't even compare the two. I honestly, I went from civilization to what is going on here. This is the world that time forgot. Everything, even getting in there to start the war, just to get us going again, like trying to get tents or things like that. I mean, I used my green bivy wax tent thing we had to set this up at one point, and like I'm like, what is going on? We're like World War II. Like, what is this going on? You know, like, wow, this is like real war. This isn't like the comfort war. We're sitting back in our house playing Battlefield and watching cool guys do cool things with cool guns. Like, no, no, this is half the battle of the war is survive.
So how big was your element? You went out to Shindad, you said, right?
We started out at Shindad, and that was where our company took place. And then from Shindan, my main duty was to establish operations north of Kuala Lumpur, in the area of Bala Murghab, Afghanistan. So everything north of Herat, they wanted me to take over and kind of control and set up airways and get lines of communication and health routes back and forth.
You were the guy in charge?
Yeah, for everything up north past Herat.
So you showing up with that amount of workload, how are you feeling as a young captain?
I felt normal because, you know, that's kind of what I expected. I expected I could do this. I expected to be put a lot on my shoulders. This was what we trained to do. When I got out to our last base, Stop Todd, you know, there's less than maybe 80 to 100 of us dudes hanging out there. Marsoc mixed with Italian, ANA, 82nd, some 82nd guys and stuff. And, you know, this same thing, the ground commander out there for the Army, captain. Ground commander out there for the Marine Special Forces, captain. And I walk in aviation assets for the air, captain. It's like we're 3 captains, big whole posts. We controlled it all, and it's just how it was. It just became normal.
What was the op tempo like?
Oh man, when we got out there, we started going north of Herat. It was getting bad. It was getting really bad. They like to use the term, it's basically like the vacationing spot of the Taliban before the spring. So it's like the winter vacation spot. They all kind of just go over towards Turkmenistan and everything else, and then they come flooding back in the spring, and that's usually one of the first places they start at. So it was just non-stop stuff since we got there in the spring. We were flying in and out doing stuff at Christmas. I spent Christmas through New Year's sitting in a room, a random room that was attached to an airfield that was out in the middle of the city. So there's this runway that goes right to the middle of the city, like big city. And somehow we thought that was what we were going to use to secure these operations that we wanted to do. So they did it. They ran up their Humvees and their motorcade. They made a big deal out of it. They got some C-130s in there. They got us in there. We're launching and doing things. Weather's just so bad because it's a valley, so it's like this little bowl of soup, and you just can't get down. And it's so hard because everything's happening underneath you. You can hear it. You can get you know what's going on, but you just can't do anything about it. And that's what really starts to break you at that point.
What was your most memorable moment during this deployment?
Ooh. Oh man, memorable most. Yeah, I'll probably say it would be 2. So one would be when our friend Rob got hit in the face. And that took a toll on me in the most negative way possible. We were called in to evacuate him. We knew the battle was going on. We could felt the explosions, like waking up the tents and everybody else was going on. So we had everyone out looking at the 9 lines coming down. Everyone's ready to go. See the mark message, spam, he's been hit, got it, 1 gunshot wound in the face. Like, this is what we need, take off, get out there. Everybody goes running out. I get the blade spinning. I'm trying to get more information. You know, they're still in an active tick, and you know, I have video files that I have to go through later, and I still have to like go back and check my mind and what happens. But then I get out there, and I'm like, hey, we're cleared to launch, and they're like, no, you're not cleared to launch. And then I was like, all right, well, hold on, tell them we need clearance. We gotta go right now. Like, this shit's getting bad. I can hear it on the radio, and it was getting close to that 15-minute buffer window, and I was watching the clock. And it just, the clock stares at me now. My freaking dreams. It just stares, click, 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 and clicks down. And I see the digital clock hit, and it says 15. And I'm on the radio, and all I just do, I see it said 15, and the second it hit said 15, I said, fuck it. I pulled up as hard as I could on the collective, and we went left. That's actually what my friend's book was like. That's the only thing we could hear from the air crew over the radio was someone just yell, fuck it. And then it just took off. So we started heading towards them as fast as we could. They were only about 3K away. So, I mean, we were right there in the thick of it as soon as we got there. We were coming down, just getting shot up for everything, just trying to send our chase bird out past them so they'd shoot at them and try to get locations, just draw the fire off of us a little bit. But we saw the green smoke, and we put it right down where they needed it. And they were carrying him down an embankment. So he's on a stretcher carrying him down. And his name was Gunner Sergeant Robert Gilbert. And he got put on the back of our aircraft. My guys try to jump in, try to start working on him. And we pull up and we nose back fast and hard. We come over and we fly our asses off to the FST, and we get in there, we land, and we get him out. And we're coming back, and all of us, our heads are down. Like, how is this possible? Like, there's no way. Rob's just dead, and like, that's it, right? And they're like the guys in the back, like, we were trying to hold his head together, and somehow the FST did it. That he was in there for an hour, and they're like, he is on life support, but he's alive. Let's push him. And so I said, okay. So we get him, design a low profile route to keep the pressure from the head from piling up or anything, and get all the way out there as quickly and safely as we could to the next position where they would push him down. And they got him all the way back out, and eventually got him to Launch Shoal, and his dad and family were there to meet him. And they got to have a drink with him on his 28th birthday when they pulled the plug, and he passed away on his birthday.
Damn. What was your...
I was like forever grateful for that. And it ate me up for years. But yeah, his dad always constantly tells me how grateful he is about it.
Yeah. Damn. Before that mission, did you guys have a relationship with Robert?
Yeah, we did, because it was just the MARSOC. There was, 20 of them, and then there was like 20 of us, and we all lived right next to together. We shared the same shitters, the same shower stalls, the same tents, same everything. So we were all just one big living conglomeration together, everybody. So everybody knew everybody. Everybody knew each other's jobs were, and stuff like that. So it was hard. Because in Iraq, it was different. When you saw, even if somebody got hurt, there'd be enough people where you'd be like, well, I really don't know that, Joe. But
correct.
Everything in Afghanistan was personal. Everything was personal.
I think things really change when it's somebody you know, from an emotional standpoint. To we as medevac will always push ourselves as hard as we can, but things get different when you know who they are, right?
Yeah. It's definitely, yeah. But so there's that one. That was probably my lowest.
Real quick, I got a few questions on that mission. What was taking so long for you to get clearance to take off? Did you ever figure that out?
Yeah, we had no armed escorts in the area. We had no arm of anything, and it was red alum, red everything, red threat level. So we were the only area in Afghanistan that had a high operational area aviation threat level. So we were not allowed to, by SOP, take off without a Apache. However, that would be impossible where I was. So they found a 4-star general to sign off on that shit and say, nah, let them do their thing. If they die, they die. Figure it out. Let them. They say they want it. They say they want the job. They can have the job. So
price of doing business, right?
Yeah, exactly. Great guy. His name is General Rodriguez. He became the AFRICOM commander led for that. But yeah, he had great faith in us, and so that was what he was able to do it. So from that on out, he's like, no one questions anymore. He came up, he looked at me, he's like, kid, you're it on the ground. You make the call. Anything else, I'll stand by you. So he's like, make the right one, and I'll stand by you. If you make the wrong one, pretty fuck.
That's a true testament. That's a true testament of good leadership, though. Trusting your people.
You've got to. You're trying to micromanage that much minutia detail. Your brain is gonna be. You're gonna miss so much more complex stuff you should be looking for.
That's very, very true. Man. Were you guys met on Med Chase, or did you have an assault aircraft with you? Met on Med?
Yeah, we had Minutemen chase in Iraq, and then we did get one assault bird. We were in Afghanistan.
So was that assault bird launch with you guys all the time in Afghanistan?
Yeah, they were able to keep up with us. Yeah, the Black Hawk. They weren't. They were good to like distract people. You know, like send them around somewhere or something, let them hover. They never fought anybody. They're always yelling back on the radio. Can I shoot somebody yet? Shoot somebody. Do you see someone shooting at you? Yeah, so you can shoot back at them if you want.
So with you coming from Iraq, slow op tempo, really not doing stuff, to now you're in Afghanistan, one of the worst areas in the country. You get approval from a 4-star that you're making the decisions for the medevac assets. How are you feeling at this time with such a stark difference?
I just felt like if at every point of my life had prepared me for this one moment, like to be there and to be that guy at that place at that time. All these other things I might have had and might be different, but it just felt right. Like everything had just fallen into place. And then, that really, I think, became one of my next memorable moments was when it all came to fruition and I kind of felt it, like exemplify itself as we were in another mission. And, we had pre-planned a lot with some ODA guys that were going in. They had MARSOC with them again. They had the Afghani commandos. They were all going in. Big mission. And they were just, it wasn't too long, but they were just getting totally overrun by a force structure of like 8-1 bigger than them. And they just getting pounded. And they just kept coming back. And they really get into this one little house. It was like kind of like their safe space that they could use the best they could get to. But they had a guy who shot, another guy shot in the head, another guy shot in the shoulder. And they called for us to come out. There at the time, they were launching GBU-35s. They were calling them in danger close. Like you're feeling them on the compound. You're seeing the smoke screens from your cockpit before you even take off. You're hearing it, and we're like, all right, let's go. And we take off and we go. And we see there, and sometimes we let the chase bird go first and kind of throw off the tactic, let them see if they could see anything or shoot at them. But I was like, well, no, I don't want them to know that we even have time for this because we're not going to do a recon. We're putting it down. So I say they pop green smoke, they pop green smoke. We come out and we just button hook as fast as we can, and then kick the tail out, put it down right into the smoke, and we were probably down on the ground within 15 seconds. We hit hard, and it's a good thing the Army Struts are designed to do that because that's when you need it like a warfighting machine. That's and then they couldn't get to us. I had my crew chief and my medic started getting out. The other guy stayed in the air. They couldn't get from the door to the bird without getting pinned down constantly. So they called in some more aerial fire, some more danger close munition was dropped around the outside of the building. It kept rocking. They tried to call us off. A couple times. I said, no, we're not leaving. We're going to wait till we got everybody. Like we're here together. We're going to leave together. And
so you're still on the ground while all this is going on.
Ground, yeah, still on the ground in the cockpit. And I'm looking over at my buddy there. He's a warrant officer. His name is Tom Shellhart. He looks over at me, and so I'm on the right seat, so I can see the compound and I can see everything that's happening. He's on the left, and he can see kind of what's going on over there, but it really wasn't much. It was like a field. But he kind of looked over at me, and I looked down at him, and I saw his hand, how tight his hand was squeezing and shaking, and I could see his feet on the pedals. And he goes, I'm like, Tom, are you all right, man? He goes, something about, he wrote me this letter. It was like the nicest thing he could have done after we were awarded our Distinguished Flying Crosses for this day. But he was just like, Mike, when you leaned over and did that to me, it seemed like the world had stopped and everything was just at peace, that you knew everything was going to be okay for some reason. Not that you just believed it because you were being stupid, but you honestly knew that we were all going to be okay. And the way that made me feel, he's like, I knew we'd all make it out of this fine. So I told him, I was like, you got this, Tom? He's like, yeah, recenter, get him recentered. And my guys are out there jumping around like little rabbits trying not to get shot in the field, medic and crew chief. And then they finally get one guy at the door. He's on a stretcher, and they just unleash hell and let this guy come running out as fast as they can. And then they're able to do it with the other guy too. He comes out. I get them both on board. Now this time too, the tide of the mission. Luckily, we had been briefed beforehand. I knew it was going to get down to the wire. It's going to get into the ship. So they were going to be out of ammunition and out of water too by the time they're going to start taking casualties like we had. So I pre-planned a bunch of bags full of ordnance for rounds, magazines, grenades, explosives. Had two big bags of those packed and ready to go. I had two big things full of canteens of water, things like that ready to go. And they were all loaded on the chase bird because dust off, we can't take that stuff in a battle. So I had him come in as soon as we picked up. I was like, I need you to put it right on put your nose on our ass and dump the bags. And they did. And then they dumped them out. And it was, of course, they were getting just hammered down. But this one kid, brave ass kid from the 82nd, he crawled his ass out there and he got these bags, grabbed all four of them. I don't know how. This thing must have been like 350 pounds of bags, and he's just body crawling. The amount of things that people do in war.
It's amazing.
He just crawled that sucker back, and he's like, just because of that, like I have sworn statements and things from people that they've used for awards and they've used for stories and books. And, you know, one of the things is they said that they thought that they were done and everything. They thought that it was over. Like there was no way, and they were getting out of it until they heard and saw the cross. And that to me was like, that was why I was there. You know what I mean? Like that was why do I keep flying? It was for that moment. It's like if I was up and I see someone with Superman ass on his chest, that's what it would have been like for me. So that's what made it all worth it.
You know, you asked me earlier why I did this show, and hearing a story like that is the exact reason why I do Heroes Have Wings, because I try to tell civilians when helicopters show up, when fixed wing, when aircraft show up on a battlefield, just a morale booster that we provide is something significant, right? And now we're providing all this support, giving these guys resources. It is a true battle multiplier, and it's crazy just hearing that, how you gave those guys a lot of hope just by showing, just your presence alone gave them hope. But then you thinking as a forward thinking leader had the wits about you to at least get that ammo together, get that water. Because we all know in combat, bullets and water are essential to survival. Those are the things you need. Those are the main things you need, right?
Yeah.
And for you to think of that and have that on the chase bird and provide it to them guys, that's amazing. One thing I want to go back on, you said you and your crew were awarded distinguished flying crosses for this mission?
Myself and the co-pilot were awarded distinguished flying crosses for this mission. And my two backseaters were awarded Air Medal with Valors. And same for the other mission where Rob got shot in the face. I was awarded Air Medal with Valor for that one. The whole crew was for that mission. So I did come out of Afghanistan with some awards.
Who's your crew chief and medic for that second mission, or were they the same for both?
The second mission was Patrick Gore. He was a crew chief, and Chick Vara, Specialist Chick Vara, was our medic. He actually, for a different mission for us, was the Dust Off Medic of the Year, and just happened to be a crazier, different mission that he just did more medic stuff. We had 11 patients at one time and one helicopter to evacuate 11 people on. So we made some things up. We were taking things out of spaces and making holes, and it got creative, but he pulled it off. So he got very well earned Medic of the Year for that one.
Damn. How did you feel getting that Distinguished Flying Cross?
Mixed. First of all, it took a while. And not to be petty, but we had another unit that was there from Germany, and they were with Germans. And theirs kind of like got blanketed through and approved in like a day. Like ours took like 6 years
Holy shit.
to finally come back around to us. So when it finally did hit, I was already getting my MBA here at UAH. So I was kind of like, all right, cool. Got it in my mail.
God dang Harvey, man. I'm telling you.
Like, so, and it was even bent. The green folder was around it because someone tried to put it in the mailbox. I was like, you bitch.
Oh man.
It means a lot.
Yeah, it does mean a lot. Shit, man. That's crazy.
Yeah, but they figured it out, and it was good because I stayed on it. I stayed on it from the time I left that first unit when I went to be a S3 in another unit. I stayed at it because it was the same brigade. Then I went to be a company commander. I still stayed on those things for everybody. I still knew the people. I went from a second company command, never let go, never stopped, tracking everybody down piece by piece. I don't care if they were retired or not. Like, I was getting their phone numbers, and my dad was helping me with that. He was like looking up old generals that had retired that might have worked for this guy, and we just did do as much due diligence as we could because I was like, these guys deserve this for all the awards. My guys, because what had happened inadvertently is that they were typed up because we didn't have the capacity to send digital files that were that complex, and left on someone's desk back in the main fob. So I was not too thrilled to hear about that. By then, Task Force 101 had ripped out with Task Force 82, and they're like, well, we're not accepting any of their stuff. Like, well, we understand that, but someone's got to. Like, well, you have to get in touch with them. I'm like, oh, boy.
Oh, the BS, bro. The BS, man. I only can imagine.
They left it on a desk in a folder underneath the keyboard.
I will say this with a lot of confidence. I'm not 100% sure, but it's just my opinion. I would say there are more soldiers, heroic soldiers out there without awards than they are with awards.
Oh, that's probably.
Just for that mere fact of pure laziness and disregard, man. And it's crazy. It's crazy that it's a good thing that there's leaders like you to make sure you stick to it and keep pushing these things forward. Because, man,
and that's the thing is, it's even now I see it with the VA. I try to get people they design it so you'll give up.
correct.
And if you give up, then they will, didn't want to fight for it that hard. Maybe didn't really earn it.
Correct.
So if you're going to fight for it, fight for it.
That's what I tell people. No, you're in for the long haul, man, because these systems are in place for what you just said. They make it so complicated that they just beat you down. But you got to show that true resilience and just keep pushing forward, keep pushing forward, keep pushing forward. And hopefully one day it'll get through. I always ask this on the show and in life. At what point do we as humans and leaders make the right decisions? Like, forget about the bureaucracy and the white and black lettering. I get it. Sometimes I think this is why people are paid a lot of money to make hard decisions, right? We'll use General Rodriguez for an example. That man took a big chance by coming down, giving a captain a blanket statement to, hey, these are general decisions, but I'm going to give my trust and I can trust your ability to make these decisions. That's true leadership. A lot of people are so afraid of making decisions because they're afraid of what's going to happen to them and what's going to make it. How am I going to look if I allow this to happen?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I think that as a leader, you have to put those things to the side and really think about what is the right thing that I should be doing here, even if it's unpopular. Is it the right thing I'm doing, right? And I think a lot of people fail that.
I think once people lose sight of what is right versus what is exciting or faddish, popular, that's when everything starts to go. But I mean, that's just kind of where we're at though in culture. Is everything seems to be so flashy, flashy. How do I get my likes? How do I do this? Doing the hard right is not necessarily going to get you to be the most click, thumbs up person.
What's your biggest takeaway from that second deployment? Because it was a stark difference from your first one.
Yeah. There was, man, I came back. I did not come back the same person. I came back bad. it was just so much loss. Like I had never felt so much loss, and I was not doing well with it at all. Yeah, so it was. You come back and you shrug it off and you party and have fun with your friends and you go travel again and do stuff like that. But um, it just really starts to eat at you, and it's slow at first. It's slow, and you're just kind of like, yeah, I'm fine, I'm fine. But then it really starts to become this festering wound, which it's gonna stay there. There's no cure for it until you get help. So
How did you keep everything together in Afghanistan for your troops, for your soldiers?
Afghanistan was all adrenaline, cortisol, good good just brain chemistry at the time, decision making, good working memory. Um, but you just running it on because we didn't have a lot of food. And I think I shrunk down from like 195 pounds and can't hardly lifting every day, heavy down. I was down like 160 pounds by the time I left out there. Like we weren't getting food or things like that. So it was a different type of war, and um it was really when you're just all in it together, and you when there's so much focused on survival and to include fighting, and then it just became a little different. Yeah.
How important were those relationships for you in that combat zone?
Oh, they were huge. They were everything. When you knew you could walk around and anybody else there would probably take one for you in the back. Um, yeah, that's like a whole new level of mutual
So
respect.
you wrap up this deployment, one of the hardest deployments and the last deployment of your life. You get back to Germany. What essentially happens next?
So we get back. We're in Ansbach. Of course, there's no airplanes. There's no helicopters for anybody to fly. So you got like 90 days to just kind of relax. We did a lot of travel. Me and Dave, our friends with Emily and my wife, and we had a big group of us lieutenants. So we traveled all over the place. A lot of time was spent me and my wife just trying to get to know each other again. Kind of been apart for so long. But yeah, so much travel. I bought a 2006 Honda Odyssey in 2008, just because I needed a car for a bunch of us lieutenants to drive around Europe and watch The Office on the back or Arrested Development. One of those shows. I had no kids. I had nothing else, but I was like, I need a minivan. I got it. I still have it. My wife hates it. She hates it. I love it.
How was that reconnecting with your wife after you guys being apart from each other for so long?
It was hard. It was hard. It's not as you don't just take it for granted. Like, hey, big hug. Everything's fine. Everything's normal. You got to learn. You got to learn to love new people. You're still loving each other, but you know that you've each evolved into something a little different. So you got to learn how to take that evolution of their own psyche into your account of who they are and love it just as much.
Now, with your wife being in the military, did that help you with your transition coming back from a deployment? Was she more understanding? How was that situation?
I think it definitely helped. I because it wasn't as it was bad. I won't say it wasn't as bad, but it was bad when I got back. But she could empathize with it. You know, she could kind of like she's seen other people going through it as worse. She's seen what I'm kind of going through. She kind of knows it's normal. It's not like the off the wall type of thing. So I think it really helped. If she was just, hey, shotgun lady, good luck. This is who I am now. I don't know if we would have made it.
What are some of the things you did when you got back to try to help you decompress and try to manage all the stuff you just been through?
Oh, travel and drink, travel and drink. Germany. We had Oktoberfest. We had Ireland, Czechoslovakia, Spain, Italy, Rome, Sicily, England, Scotland. We went everywhere. If there was a 4-day weekend and we had a way to get there, we went. Yeah, just travel, travel, travel.
So when you guys What essentially did you do when you got back from a working standpoint? You did your 90 days. What essentially happened after those 90 days?
So after those 90 days, we kind of started getting back up. People were flying and progressing again. Um, I was still having trouble with sleep, so I was on a downslip for a bit. So I was running, not flying for a little bit, and then which was fine by me. But we rolled it into the spring, and what I really wanted to do was, because my wife had already moved to Mannheim, Heidelberg area, I was hoping I could get a job with the battalion that was in Mannheim. So I applied, for an ITT cot. So I want to enter theater transfer, continuation of tour, get 3 more years in Germany, just move to where she would be. I got approved. I got up there in April, so I was only there for the 90 days. We got back, so my time went there pretty quick, and on the after end, and then I got it right up to 214th, right as Charlie Company was getting ready to send their they're redeploying back because they took over for us, and then they were coming back. So it was fun. I actually got to see my old 755 Warbird come home, and like all the stuff that I left in Afghanistan. And so it was pretty cool switching units. It worked out that way.
What was your primary mission there when you got to Mannheim?
Mannheim, I was just in the 3, assistant S3, was one of the operations plannings. So most of my stuff evolved around the redeployment planning of a medevac unit, just because I had just done it. But then after that, we planned tons of things. So like we were in charge of 214th was in charge of all like the VIP movements. We were in charge of, we took POTUS to Israel. We took POTUS to Buckingham Palace, Belfast, all these things that every time that they would go, we'd fire up and we'd take people. We had a little detachment that was for the Supreme Allied Command quarters of Europe, SACEUR. We did it all. Like if there was something you wanted to do with flying, you would do it there. Even rotary wing, jet, like it had it all.
How are you feeling about flying? I mean, you had that situation in flight school. You got 2 deployments under your belt. That last one being pretty significant. How are you feeling about flying? Were you in that state where if I never fly again, I'll be A-okay? Or
if I never flew a helicopter again, I would be A-okay. They used to tell me I was up on flight register for a day. Like, I was the HCC commander. They knew, like, okay, like the guy just got to get through his minimums. And I'm like, yeah, guys, that's all I got to do. So we'd go out there and we'd do all the real slow stuff quick, get the wheels off the air. Okay, now let's talk about clock gets started. Now we can talk about the stuff we were going to talk about at the table. But just trying to get through it. They knew I wasn't really into it. It wasn't my desire to seek a flight company command. So after HAC, I took over Delta because I did like maintenance. So to take on the maintenance part of it, I go and do a maintenance test flight or something once or twice with them, but I wasn't a maintenance test pilot, so I didn't mind doing that. I was maintenance officer. So that was a good job. I really, really enjoyed that. I had great soldiers for that job, and really, really lucked out on that one. Yeah. But no, I was very, very okay not touching a helicopter ever again. Even then, even when we came here to the States and they were trying to get me to some units that were flyers, I was kind of like, nah, I don't think you guys want to go down that road.
let's talk about how it felt you becoming a company commander for the first time.
Oh man, what an awesome feeling. To me, it was more special because you're in AMED, you're brought up to be as a 67 Juliet. You're not going to command until you're a major. You're not going to command until you're a major. You're not good enough to do this other stuff. This. So you kind of start from like this bottom totem pole crap. And you get sick of it. And you hear some of these guys that, just because they're other captains, or their captain might be a year or two older than you or something. Like, I don't care if you're a year or two older than me. If you don't know your shit, you don't know your shit. So, like, we're done. I'm gonna walk away, and I'm gonna be a commander, and I'll be on the same table as you guys now. And instead of me trying to sit there and explain to you why something is, someone's gonna explain to me why it's all fucked up, and I'm gonna give you a solution. We're gonna go do it. So it was great. It was so freeing to be able to do things the way I had almost envisioned them being done, and then to actually see it come through. A lot of things I messed up, but to see the outcome and then learn from it and then not mess it up again, especially when doing HHC first, was such a great experience to get me into a second command that was so important and so critical to, and not just critical, but personal to me. Aviation maintenance was extremely personal to me, having my own crash. So I was very dedicated to not have that job mess up.
What steps did you take to become an HHC commander?
Fought for it. I showed up in the new unit. I told him right off the bat, I was like, "Sir, here's my stuff." And he looked. I was like, "Sir, I'm gonna let you know right now, I want to be your next HHC commander." And he goes, "Really? You don't want to do something else?" I was like, "No, I want to do this." He said, "I would have thought you wanted to do something else." I was like, "Nope, that's what I'm telling you what I'm doing now." I try to get my daughters to do it too all the time now. When I'm like, "What would you like?" They won't speak up. Tell me what you want, dear. You don't tell somebody what you want, they don't know. And it's not that they're being mean or they're holding back or they're not giving you your fair chance. He didn't know. He would have assumed an AMED guy coming to staff wanted to do the AMED staff job and then go fly as much as he could in a company and get ready for a medevac company command as a major. I was like, that is not what I want to do. That's not my career route. So, sir, I want to be respectively in 9 months when you change out, the HCC company commander wants to be me. I said, okay, we'll see how your year goes, and we'll analyze it then.
That's a true testament of what you want in life. You have to put it out in the atmosphere. You have to speak these things because, like you just said, no one. If you don't put it out there, no one knows, and you're only one person away from changing your life, right? So if that person ever knows you want to be an HHC commander or you want to go fly a rocket ship or whatever the case may be, if you don't voice those things, you're probably going to have a hard time getting them because we all need somebody to get us where we need to get to in life. So kudos to you for speaking up. One thing I love about that story is you do go against the grain and you don't just live that, I'm not going to say average, but that typical AMED officer life where, like you said, go do AMED staff, go fly, take command, and just keep riding there. How do you think your peers looked at you any differently because you did something that was outside of the norm?
I think I had great peers. So, and that's what really helped me. Is like we had a great year group of people that came in, and we all kind of knew each other really well. So yeah, Dave being remember there. Robert McDonough was, and he went to school with my wife. He went to college in RTC with my wife in a small little Dickinson program. Emily Goering, who knew Mark McGuire, they got married, and so it's a really good community of people. But I told them what I wanted to do way off before like we even got it started. I was like, this is what I want to do. This is the core for me. And even if I do take medevac command, then good. Then give me 3. I'll take one of each. Like give me everything you got. And along the way, I'm gonna learn and I'm gonna grow from it. I'm gonna use it to have one type of experience because you only get one shot at this. Yeah, you only get one shot at experiencing whatever you want to experience in life. So
yeah, that's something I'm realizing now at 45, man. I've missed out on so many opportunities just because I just failed to accept the opportunities that I had in front of me. I always thought I had this, I could do it later. The biggest thing I can remember is just when I lived in Germany for 2 years, I didn't travel as much as I wanted to because I had this notion in my head that I'd be back, and I never made it back. So it was a missed opportunity that I do regret. And I tell everyone, man, when you have those opportunities, take them. Even if you're scared shitless, just take those opportunities because you don't know when you're going to get them back. What do you think's your most memorable moment being a HAC commander?
Believe it or not, going against my medics, I went for my EFMB while I was in command. So going for my expert field medical badge against them and being the only one that made it in the brigade, being like, suck y'all. I'm an HAC commander. I got time for this. You guys are all my medics and none of you guys can do it.
Yeah, that's crazy. How much leverage and shit power talking did you have with those guys?
I had some good ones because there's some guys there that were like on their sixth try. I was like, six? This is my first try. Let's do this. It can't be so hard, right? Just
Yeah.
there's some stuff. Heal a guy, steal a guy, run 12.
Where do you think you got that from? That desire to always be great, to excel in everything you do, to do the things that you really don't want to do, but you do them anyways. Where do you think you got that?
It had to be my dad. It had to be. Yeah, a combination of my dad and my mom. It's like a good mix. My dad encouraging me to do all these things, and my mom with the right amount of emotional pressure to make it pleasurable. So it's not like it's like we're gonna guide you to this, but we're gonna make sure that you know that they were very clear about how they viewed my ability and my potential, and they were more concerned about what I would do with my potential and ability. Would I use it or would I slack off? By nature, ADD and some other things, I get easily overwhelmed and I can slack off. And it can happen very quickly. With therapies and things that I know now, like when I start something though, like you better be ready for me to start because like it's going all in. You tell me, hey, we need to clean this house. Like I'm gonna take it as a event, and you get up and you start doing it with me. Like this house is getting clean. Like it's getting clean. It might not get cleaned again for 2 years. Man, the day you told me to do it, it's the day that I'm on it, and it is going to get done to the best of my ability until every like nook and cranny was swiped out with a toothbrush. Like, but it can just go all over the place. But they really just wanted to focus my potential and talent to use it for good, which I think everybody wants that over kids, right? You want them to leave the world better than you left it.
How long were you a HAC commander?
1 year.
What was your biggest takeaway from that, your first command?
Oh man, UCMJ was such a pain. God, like trying to the eye-opening stories. So like you get some stories when you're like in charge of stuff, but when you're in command, you get it all. You get all the stories, especially as company commander. Your first line to everything. You were just inundated with this craziest stuff that you would not think you'd have to either deal with or prosecute or put somebody in jail for, or yeah. So HAC commander, don't see. I've had people go to jail. I've had people garnish wages, demotions, house arrests, divorcee settlements. You name it, you got it. It had nothing to do with flying. It had everything to do with commanding.
If you'd like to share, what's one of the craziest stories you had to deal with?
Ooh, man, craziest story. So I had one. He was a as a HAC company commander, your first sergeant isn't really an MTO position. So you kind of rotate through who has like the senior NCOs in the shop, so wants to add it as like a little extra bullet. But anyway, so one of the guys I had, he was my first sergeant for a little bit, did some training events with him, not too bad. He went on from there though. When I switched over to Delta Company, he kind of started to get kind of like a sleazy kind of guy. And I guess things were you kind of tell like there was that weird like sleaze attitude going around him, and women were staying away from him and things like that. And and then it came down to one day he was doing combatives and he was doing some stuff that just wasn't right to be doing it to another human being, and it broke them, and they were in tears, and they were lucky enough and strong enough to come forward and say what had happened to them. But we had to go through the whole trial. We put him in jail for a year. I was proud of it. It was crazy, but I was proud of it. I knew for sure. I was like, no, you don't deserve to just get a slap on the wrist and walk out. Like, you're going to jail, man, and you're gonna be a federal offender.
Yeah. Did you ever think as a company commander you'd be dealing with those type of things, especially in the Army?
No, not that. I thought maybe like a year 20 or something, but yeah, not at first company command throwing people in Coleman Army jail. Like, oh boy, no.
So you leave HHC. Did you already drop that seed that you wanted to be Delta Company Commander, or was that something?
Yeah, it worked out great because the guy who was Delta Company Commander kind of wanted to be HHC Commander too. So we actually just did a high five to the brigade commander, and we switched on the same day. Just did a little. I think it was a pretty interesting formation. I watched the first sergeants and sergeant majors go out there and try to figure out how to do this. Watching them march all over the place. Like, no, once you come here, you should come left, you should come right. No, he's incoming, but he's also incoming. So. Just passing batons around, but it was fun. It was great. Yeah, we switched. And crazy thing is, he lives 2 miles down my road right now. He moved here. He 2 years after Germany, both those commands, he and I both split off. Did 2 years to get our MBAs and ended up back here at Redstone. And so his family just finished building his house 2 miles down the road.
What was the biggest difference between HHC Company Command and Delta Company Command besides the aviation aspect?
Oh man, the discipline was so much better. Oh my God. Like, we were talking about, I hate to say you have soldiers and then there's like soldiers and then you have like soldiers. Like, this was a good medium group of, like, I had some good soldiers. Like, these were good, tight soldiers. You tell them you need to do a supply inventory. They are going to be out there with their stuff, dress right dressed. No one trying to drag them on their butt. Like, you need to pull this out, private, or do this. They were proud. They were proud of their equipment. They were proud of their jobs. They were proud of themselves. And that really shone through. And it made my life much easier and really enjoyable because it made me feel like I was doing something right. I was like, if these guys just feel like they're this good in themselves, then I must be doing something right. That, or either I'm doing that or I'm doing nothing at all. And I should keep doing nothing at all because it's working. So something's happening. It needs to continue to happen.
How long were you Delta Company Commander for?
1 year.
So you got 2 years of command under your belt. Yep. What was the best thing about being company commander?
I would say really just, man, I'll just go with parking spot then because I can't ever. It was also cool. It's the only thing that really stood out to me. I guess it was unique. There's nobody else could park in Beach, but I had to go parking deck, which was like down a mile down the road, and I had a parking spot right up my building.
So, how long are you in the Army at this point?
So that's 2014. So be about 10 years.
10 years in the Army, 2 commands underneath your belt.
It's 14, 8 years. All
right, so 8 years in the Army, 2 commands under your belt. How are you feeling right now about the Army?
I'm enjoying it. I'm having a good time. It's got its headaches. It's got other things. Some groups are coming to recruit me for doing other certain things I was just not interested in. But then AMED had their long-term health education training program. When we came back from Afghanistan, actually, I was selected from AMED. I was awarded the Junior Officer of the Year for 2011. So that helped. I turned that around and added that to my packet for long-term health education training. So they gave me school of choice, get my MBA anywhere I wanted, and then I'd be an focus on acquisitions officer. So I did that, went to UAH with the plan on getting assigned to Redstone. So I went out to move twice. So University of Alabama in Huntsville was great. I loved my time there. I came out thinking I was going to move right into here, and they were trying to turn around and deploy me to Korea for a year. And my wife was ready to lose it. We had just had a 1-year-old baby. She was working full time. Everything else was going on. I had a friend here, a really good buddy. His name is Joe Alexander. He's excelled now in his career. He's 6'7" Juliet, but he's like way past 06 and beyond now. He's made a scenario where he found somebody else to take the Korea job, which if he volunteered to go to Afghanistan. So he did that for me while I would get my job here. And once I'm in the job, they fix it. And it worked out. I was able to get 4 years here. And during the 4 years, you need 4 years as project manager to get your acquisitions course certification. So I was able to get everything I needed to work somewhere else, just in case I did need it one day. So the Army did hook me up very well. And when I came here, I had the best leadership team I have ever had in the Army. When I came here to see my 05, who was in charge, Colonel Joe Sutherland, she was absolutely amazing. All the way up through 06 level, all the way up through General Todd. And when he was just everyone cared personally about you. Nobody, because everyone kind of knew. There's this part where you step back and you realize, as a green suiter, you're not really going to get much done. Like, you're going to make decisions and say things, but you're no longer at that level where you're affecting things on the ground. Like, you're not, like, if I take 3 steps over here and this guy follows me, you're not doing that. You're considerate about who is working for you and are they able to make those clear decisions when it's important to them. So you have this huge civilian staff force that all works for the one green suiter. And as long as he can make those wise decisions and he's in a place, so the next level manager up, he has a civilian counterpart that's managing all the civilian stuff, but he's managing the life and growth and career of these younger officers all the way down. And to really make sure that they're doing it right, they're getting healthy, they're staying their course. Some of them obviously do not do this. There's been a whole slew of bad ones that come in after mine, but I happen to be there at the right place at the right time. They were able to help me get help with PTSD issues. They got me into ILE right here at satellite campus, so I wouldn't have to move, so I could do ILE. While I was in ILE, they supported me doing a self-referred program to alcohol and substance abuse counseling. They stayed with me through all of that, took me back in the unit, kept me going, stayed me focused with my mental health, working through all the PTSD issues, working through everything that came all the way up till the next summer of 18, and off to inpatient behavioral health facility. Getting out of there, my health started spiraling out of control, and they're fighting with me. Way.
Real quick, Mike, all this is happening. You're still in the military.
Sure am.
All right, so I want to recap real quick. So we leave Germany after 7 years. You go to Huntsville, correct? In Huntsville, take 2 years, get your MBA program, right?
New MBA program, yep.
And then from there, you're assigned to a unit in Huntsville?
Yeah. So it was program office from Medevac.
Okay.
So we're in charge of all the acquisitions and equipment for the Army Medevac fleet.
So during this time, you start realizing, my PTSD is out of control, my drinking's out of control, and then you start.
Yeah, it was so. When I was first here, I could tell that it wasn't too bad, but my drinking was becoming more of an issue at night. And then it was, well, it's not too bad because we don't really do PT. There's really no reason to worry about it. So then it kind of went all the way through. I just kept drinking, no big deal. And, my wife would get in fights and all that stuff like that. But then I went to ILE and I had this instructor, and her name, she was a former colonel, retired.
What's ILE?
Oh, intermediate level education, or CGSC, Command General Staff College. That's what they call it. It's like a captain's advanced course for majors advanced course. So anyway, she was there and she told us a story about her brother, who was an engineer and an alcoholic, and they didn't know how bad he was until he had a stroke, and someone came and looked at his apartment, and there was just bottles all over the place, and brought him in, And then because he had a stroke and he was such a brilliant engineer and he couldn't no longer get his thoughts out of his head, he ended up killing himself because he just couldn't handle not being able to be himself from the alcohol. And he was drinking to numb some of the thoughts and the extractions and everything else. And I was like, parts of that story hit home to me. As I talked to her, I was like, hey, Miss Rosa, I would like to go check out this substance abuse counselor guy. I'm not saying anything. I just go talk to him. She said, sure. So I went to talk to him and he said, just take this form real quick, fill it out to your best of your ability on your drinking habits. I was saying, all right, no problem. Just going to tell me to drink a little less. And he handed it back. He goes, congratulations, sir. You're a certified alcoholic.
How'd you feel? How'd you feel with him telling you that?
I was like, this guy don't know shit. No. I was like, oh, that's a bummer. That's not what I wanted to hear, but whatever. And he's like, so but it was fine because I was okay doing it. I was afraid of programs and things like that. Like I was okay with one-on-one help, things like that worked for me. So that's why I kind of started talking to him, and we were working together for about a month or so, and then it really kind of kicked in where he was like, look, this really is something a group tackles together, and you're not going to be able to get there just with me. And I said, I'm finally scared enough to give in, to go and try. And I tried some group programs. When I was getting sober, I was so bad, like they had to actually medicate me down because my body was so physically addicted to the alcohol. But I got through it, came out, and then you would think, oh yeah, you got sober, everything would be great. No, sobriety was covering up or drinking was covering up so many issues I had. It was covering the pain of so many internal organ issues I had. It was covering the pains of orthopedic issues I had, covering the mental pains I had. So I stopped drinking. My mental health went to shit. My body went to shit. My thyroid flipped up. My adrenal gland went overloaded into my pituitary system. In the first year, I probably gained 100 pounds. I packed on, yeah, and just like all the stuff when I was going down, I couldn't even stay awake. I was falling asleep at a car at a red light. I had just like nothing was working right. My whole body was shutting down. And then, so yeah. And over the last 2 years, I've been able to kind of get it back on course with adjusting some medications and changing some stress attitudes and how things like that play into it. But yeah, so I went from like a normal solid 185. I won the push-up contest for doing 100 push-ups in 2 minutes and ILE. It's a major course. So I was like, yeah, I'm pretty fit dude. And then I go, boom, I blow up to like 280 pounds. And then I'm like, next thing I know, I maxed the scales at 307.2. I was like, holy shit. But back under control, and had not after this beach vacation, but previously maxed the scale out at 147.2. So it was a 160-pound loss. So I'll take that. I'll take that as a win too. That speaks to, again, my resilience. I start going at it. I'm going at it. No one's telling me no.
How important was it for you to get off this alcohol?
Oh, I was gonna lose my family. So I mean, it came right down to that. The day that I tell the story all the time when I'm in AA. The day that I went to tell my wife, because I was doing this at night, I was like, my boss would know, but I'd be like, I'm gonna leave early a little bit tonight because it'll be a 5:30 meeting, and I checked the 5:30 meeting, and then it'd be an hour meeting that I get home at 7, and sometimes I could justify coming home at 7 late for doing something at work or anything else like that, not telling her I was going to AA or any of that, because I'm going to AA, but I'm still drinking. It's like I haven't made that cut. Like that doesn't just happen. Like sometimes it takes a couple of meetings. So, but the day that I finally told her that I was going to AA and I'm trying to get sober, she looked at me and she's like, I was going to tell you I wanted a divorce tonight. Like, no shit. So she's like, I am with you. I will stand by you, and I will support you, and we can beat this together. But if I had taken a couple more hours and not been the first one to get that out of my mouth, it could have been a whole new life for me. Again, the luckiest unlucky guy.
How important has it been having a wife like yours in your corner throughout this whole process in life?
She was amazing. There's no way I could do anything I could do without her. There's hands down, she holds us together. She holds her family together. She holds me together. I'd be totally lost, especially now, post PTSD injuries, brain head, all this crap. My heart, like everything else that keeps going on with me. She's a trooper. She's keeping my girls going through it. I don't know how she does it. She's blowing her way through work. Like she's excelling at a pace that I can't even imagine on the civilian side of a scale. And she's just doing it so well. And her biggest thing is I wish she's so good at it. She doesn't understand it. I wish I could get her that one opportunity to like take your spot for a day and like help her out. But I don't know shit about what she does. So I would have no idea. But I would like to give her, but not like a day like mine where mine are boring. I'm spending 6 hours in a car, like driving all over the place, but like just to have that freedom of my daughter is going to have, and they did in, what was the thing we used to do in school? Oregon Trail. Remember a little video game we used to do? Oregon Trail video game sometime in school?
Yeah.
So they did a real one. So they had kids that came out and dressed up as like settlers, and they built their big oxen. They built like this little cart and they carry it. And there was like a 4 mile track around school that they did. And they were asked questions and how they answered. You want to cross the river? Do you want to forge it? Do you want to pay for the rope? And, people would die. And the more people would die, the more people alive had to carry. And it was just hilarious. And it was one of those things that would have never, ever slipped my mind in my radar ever. But I was just like, I have the opportunity to go see this, so I'm going to go check it out. It wasn't like an advertised event. It's just like, hey, just a reminder the fourth grade class is going to be doing their Oregon Trail at 10 o'clock if anybody's interested. So, yeah. So, I mean, it's just those little itty bitty things if I could give her occasionally just to kind of step back. But everything, she's still at that level where things are very crisis management. And they are right now in the workforce tech. I mean, she works in IT and they're cutting back like crazy. She's been trying to handle firing people. She's been trying to keep her own job. So it's been a stressful time for her by far.
Well, keep supporting her, man, like she's supporting you. How supportive was the Army for you during this whole process?
So I give my wife didn't like the Army, their support, but I loved the Army support care team I had. I had a doctor here, a clinical pharmacologist, aeromedical neuropsychologist, an internal medicine doctor, a neurologist, a nephrologist, endocrinologist, gastroenterologist, cardiac, thoracic, and something else. And they would sit at these big tables and they would try to converse and have like legitimate conversations about what could be possibly going on with me and like what different things could be going. And I was like, and my parents and no one else seemed to believe that they were doing good best for me. And I was like, you guys need to come. You just sit down and listen to what they do. They talk about me nonstop. They really are invested in my care. Like I could be like Joe Schmo and just be like, yeah, I can't figure that one out. I mean, these are a team of doctors all over the place coming together, trying to figure this out. And so I had a lot of good faith in the Army and that system. I also knew the system as an AMED officer to make sure I wasn't going to get freaking hosed. So that's the thing is a lot of people end up not really enjoying the Army system or not getting use of the Army system to the extent that it's out there for them. It's only because they don't know the black and white of what they're entitled.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I think a lot of it's because just lack of knowledge and ignorance. We just don't know, right?
Yeah, if you know what you're supposed to be getting, you are light years beyond the other soldiers.
So what were the sequence of events that led up to you getting out the Army, and how was that transition for you?
So getting out was basically trying to get through my med board. And that took a good year and a half with different surgeries and different things that were coming up, and some autoimmune diseases they found from Afghanistan that had popped up. And so once we transitioned out, I got my 90-day notice, and it was kind of like, okay, all right, so it's happening. They'll put me on temporary retirement, and then retire me in 2 years after that. So
How did you feel, real quick? How did you feel when they told you, listen, we're going to put you through the medical evaluation board process?
I was good. I was good with it. Like, I was not unfamiliar with it. I was familiar with it from my dad, who didn't found fit for duty, who made it in, but he had known enough people, and he had basically ingrained into us since the day we had joined the Army. You have every injury ever, you document it. You document it. You document it. You go to the clinic. You say sick call, fell, right ankle sprain, hurts, pain level 4. Got it. Here's some Motrin. No, don't give me Motrin. Let me see you type it. I'll take the Motrin, but let me see you type that in there, that I came in here on this day with some right knee pain. Because there was some stuff I found where they're like, well, he complained about it before this. And I was like, shit, like, oh, crap. So they couldn't have contributed to one thing, but there was, yeah, you just gotta talk. I can't, if there's any veterans out there that watch this or listen, or anyone's trying to get out, my gosh, pay attention to your medical. Pay attention to your medical. You only get one life. This is it. And once you're out, it's too late. Take care of it now. Oh, no one's going to insure you when you come out as a vet, because they're going to assume you're going to be dead in a year.
It's so true, man. When I grew up in the Army, I got the same advice from a lot of my senior NCOs. Make sure you keep everything medical on file. And when I got out, it made my process easy because everything was documented. Everything. And if you're not if you're in the military, you understand how important it is to have paperwork. I mean, the machine doesn't move without paperwork, period. And that's on every aspect.
I yell at my wife to do it like my way, because like I was, so in my mind, I'm a systems man, a process. I'm like, how do I make something as simplistic and streamlined as possible? So I looked at the VASR, the VA Schedules of Ratings and Disabilities, and I went through and figured out how they did their code. And I went through 40-8-6 Army Reg through, which is a med code. And I just kind of started linking them up and seeing how things were going. And I was like, all right, I think I have an idea. So I started going in and writing out exactly what the criteria was. So if it was, Major Connelly can no longer turn his head past 14.3 degrees. It causes him pain at this area, no longer allowing him to effectively see around the cockpit, thereby hindering his performance as a aviation officer or medical corps officer. And so, or Michael Connelly has fibromyalgia. The pain becomes intermittent and excruciatingly up to 40% of his body. He cannot be fit for flight duty. Bam. I get all these letters, got them all. I go to my appointments. I sit down with the doc. I'm like, doc, what's the deal? We're going to do an exam? He's like, yes, we're going to do my exam. He does my exam. I'm like, okay, doc, would you concur to this statement right here? Would you sign this for me? Oh, absolutely. I'd sign that for you. Back in there. Next doc. Put them all. Scan. Go down to records room. Scan it all in. There you go. It's all my notes. I went to the VA. I was like, there you go. There's one that says I can't do that. There's a guy who says I can't do that. There's a guy who said he took a scar tissue sample out of my chest and yanked it off to the lab in Afghanistan. I've got necrotizing muscle disorder that's going to like destroy me in 50 years. Like, so yeah, I just make it easy. Like, they're going to make it hard. So fight back. Just because they come up with a hard process for you, come up with a process that's easy and use it against them.
What advice would you give any younger soldiers, any veterans that are out of the military? What advice would you give them regarding their mental health and how to address it?
Oh my gosh, guys, get help. Oh man, I hand on the Bible, ready to kill myself. Done. I was out of it. Every day I was awake. I didn't want to be alive. Never got to a point where I had a plan, never that far, but there was never a day that I was waking up wanting to be alive. So do not ever let it get to that part. It is scary. It was so much more scary than someone telling me at the major operation or anything else like that. How your own brain can turn on you that quickly is insane. So if you have any inkling of something, reach out for help into one of these support services. Now, I will say one of the most frustrating things for me to hear now, it's a little more personal to me, but when people say, you call, Private Joe, anybody, you call me up 24/7, you let me know you need me, I'm there, I'll be there for you, don't you do anything else. Because honestly, I put that to the test and it's bullshit. Use the services that are out there. Don't just call somebody and say that they're going to help you. Use the crisis line, use the vet centers, use the VA hospital, because I tried that first. I tried reaching out to my friends, and even when they were putting me in behavioral health hospital, my friends, still, it's the ones who said they'd be in fight and die for me. No one ever came to check on me. In fact, it's still been 6 years. I was just in the hospital for about 5 days again. I have yet to have a friend come and check and see how I've done and fit in person. So to me, I'm like, hey, still friends that I'm going to talk to every day online, but understand, like, that's not where you want to go, because it's not your job. Like, they have lives too, and I understand that. And I am a small segment of someone else's life. I am a huge segment of my own. So my mind, my gosh, how am I not taking up their whole thought process? How am I not exploding in their head right now? Because it's not that's not their job to do. Their job is to take care of themselves and their own families. But these people at the crisis lines, that is their job. Their job is to be focused on helping the person they are talking to on the line at that exact moment. And they are there for you. And I have called them at my worst. And it has been so nice to just sit there in tears on the phone, laying on my couch and just talking to somebody about something I thought I couldn't overcome. And just because the way my wife left me a certain way when she left the room and had talked to me a certain way, and I just thought it was like just gonna destroy me. And I called, and 20 minutes later, I felt better. I just felt a huge weight lift off your chest, just better. And then don't just quit getting help. It's not just like a one-time, yay, I'm better. It takes time. It takes a lot of time. It's like a physical therapy rehab. It takes time. It takes time for your scars to go away. It takes time for everything to go away. And scars never really do always go away. They're always there. So you just keep working on it. And there's so many good resources that we have out there to connect with one another. And it's really just about getting the word out.
You know, Mike, that is some of the best advice that I've gotten on this show. And like I said, we're in season 3 right now, but you even made me realize the importance of that. It's crazy because I had a friend hit me up a few weeks ago and asked me same thing. He asked me about a friend he was struggling with. I said, listen, he needs to contact the people that could help him. It ain't us. All right. We have to get our friends in front of professionals. Cause like you said, everybody's busy living their own life, and that's no fault to their own. Right. But that is some of the best advice. And one of the best things about Heroes Have Wings, at the end of every show on YouTube, I do have that number. I'm pretty sure it's 988.
Yep. 988. Yep.
Call 988. That's what I told my buddy who hit me up. I said, here's 988. Call that number. Get your friend some help. You don't have the capacity or the mind space to be trying to fix him, right? Lead him to where he needs to get. But man, that was some great advice. And the second part you said, working on your mental health is something that it's a continuous battle. It's like exercising, eating healthy. You just have to work on these things time and time again. And just because you think you may be okay at the moment, it's only going to take one situation. It can take one situation that could set you back. So continuously working on that. But man, that was great. That was great advice. After those 18 months of going through that whole process, the MEB process, what happened? The Army, they retired you. And then
so the Army found me 90% disabled of the Army terms, and they maxed out at 75. So basically, like I was retired at like 30 years for Army percentage, VA 100% right off the bat. So it came out, that was done. The Army, because of my Army disability as well, the way it had it set up, it focus you around to other government programs that say, hey, when a soldier can't do their job, there's these other programs out there for them as well. Some of them are Social Security, disability insurance, and things like that you can get set up and actually get started while you're on active duty if you know about them, which I don't think a lot of people do, which is a shame, because it's like the third tab on the Social Security page is what to do if you can't no longer do your MOS and how to apply. So it's just these simple things I try to do, and then just the transition was just, it hit COVID, so it didn't really even feel like a transition. It was just one day I was in the Army, one day I wasn't. It was just like, okay, yeah. Like I had to ask somebody for my flag and go find somebody in the whatever room, the main processing room. Like, anybody got a flag for me? I think I'm supposed to get one when I retire.
That's another thing. Your retirement process is what you make it. So if you don't track people down, if you don't make it a big deal, no one else will make it a big deal. I promise you. Same thing.
That was good for me, because my mental health there, I was like, I don't need to be around anybody.
Yeah.
So just walking in alone, be like, can I just get this flag real quick and then just walk out? I'll be all right.
How long ago did you retire?
So let's see, 2020 was when they retired me for like rehab look, and then they officially retired me in 2022. Maybe 2 years of temporary retirement in case they wanted to bring you back, in case your brain got better. Because going out, obviously everyone's brain's gonna get healthier when you leave the Army for 2 years.
How was it becoming a civilian? How do you feel being a civilian now?
It's so weird, man. It's so weird. I don't even know like how to describe it, because I'm kind of not like I am, but I'm like my family, so they kind of have their way with me. But most of the friends, dads or spouses, are also former veterans of some part, so it's kind of like I'm in this weird civilian mix of former vets. So I'm not working daily with a bunch of civilian guys or anything like that. So it's kind of like this holdover space. It's like a little void. Yeah.
So besides being a dad, what do you do now?
Service dogs right now is my next one. We talked real briefly my first one. His name is Clark, and he passed away last August, unfortunately. But before that, I worked on writing a book for him. And the book is basically it's to inform people about PTSD and service dogs, and the impact a service dog can have on someone with PTSD, such as a veteran. And the whole thing was drawn up as it was his perspective of watching me. So from him getting adopted to watching me go off, to watching me come back different, to knowing that he had to be something more, and then doing that for me to make himself super along the way. So it is called Clark, the Super Service Dog. To get him to that point was a nice story I had played, and it helped me a lot. I'm sure I could have written a book quick, but like this book took me a couple of years to write, because I would wake up in the middle of the night and I'd have feelings or I'd have thoughts, and I'd write them down, and then I'd go back, and sometimes I wouldn't want to share, and then I would go back and I sit down and I read it and I start working on it again, and then it would become too overwhelming for emotions, and it would go back and forth. Just recently, last week, my youngest daughter asked me to read it to her. And it was the first time I had read it since Clark had passed. And it was hard. It was really hard to read that book again. But yeah, it's out there for anybody who wants to look for it. Profits go to help shelter dogs and service dogs and stuff like that. But it's just a nice kid's book. It's 48 pages, easy rhymes, pictures. Pictures are fun. Illustrations are good.
And what's the name of the book again?
It's called Clark, the Super Service Dog.
And where can we find that book?
That book, you can be found on Barnes & Noble. It can be found on Amazon. It can be found pretty much anywhere. If you Google Clark, the Super Service Dog book, you'll probably pop up. But Amazon and Barnes & Noble would be your two big ones.
Hey man, I want to give you a shout out for doing that, because I do have a service dog myself. It's Bristol. Him and I have been together for 8 years now. And man, I love that little dude. I mean, he ain't little. He's an 85-pound black lab. You and I talked about it, but just a profound impact he had in my life. He has in my life, even to this day. I mean, I really appreciate you doing that and giving the public a perspective from somewhat perspective of, the service dog and what they go through. Because I tell people when they're in their vest, they are under a lot of stress because in their brain, they want to be a dog, right? They want to play, they want to do all the fun stuff, but they're genuinely working. And when I get him home and I take his vest off so he could decompress, man, he's taking a nap because I know he's tired. He'll he'll do his zoomies for a little bit, get it out, but most of the time I let him just be a dog when he's outside of vest because it is a lot of work. This is the best way I can describe it to the audience because once again, I've been with Bristol since I've had him for 7 years. Correction, 7 years. We're coming on 8 in January. The best way to describe it is imagine having a 5-year-old child. They're pretty smart. But imagine them trying to be disciplined all day. It's just impossible, right? That's the same thing with your service dog.
That's exactly it.
That's the same thing with our service dogs. They have the aptitude of about a 5-6-year-old, so they're pretty smart, right? But they want to do 5-6-year-old shit. And that's pretty much the best way I could describe it so people could understand what they're dealing with.
So my new one, Cal, who I've been training on since we got him 19th of December when he was 2 months old, and I've been training him for a long time. We train every Sundays, and we train some more throughout the week with the lady that helped me train my other one. But anywho, me and my daughter were out yesterday at one of her appointments, and he was with me, and she wanted to go to her favorite pizza place downtown. And we get inside, and I'm like, all right, man, come on in, and trying to get him to go under the booth like I'm used to it. What's going on? He's like having this freak out thing, and he's twisting himself all over the place. I'm like, just lay down, man. I'm getting so mad at him. And then I'm sitting there like, wait a minute. Like, we've been going at this. He's been traveling around with me. Time has been going by. He's smelling pizza. Like, he's probably a little bit. Oh, wait. He's also only 9 months old. So he's just because he looks ginormous. He's 9 months old. He's still a baby, acting like a baby, trying to act like a big boy. He's doing good. He's doing really good. Be proud of him. Be proud of him. That's what I say. Be proud of him.
I think that's what it takes. A lot of praising and rewarding, right? Consistency, you know the deal. I mean, I just recertified Bristol for year 7 in June. And man, he is just locked tight. They get it after a certain amount of time, as you know, they could get into that zone like a switch. So it's pretty impressive. You and I talked about some other books via text in some of our conversations. What are some of those other books you would like to talk about?
So, one of the ones I was going to bring up was it's called Level 0 Heroes, and let me see if I can pull the authors. It's Michael Galemsey, but if you look up Level 0 Heroes, it'll pop up on Amazon or on Barnes and Noble, and that book covers basically from the beginning summer area of 2009, and then that goes all the way up into the end of 2009, right there at the end of the year. And that's where we had a last big objective Pathfinder. It was a huge mission, Operation Buongiorno, and it was all the stuff that we had done up there. And then from the second book he wrote was called Dagger 2-2, and it covers all the time from Operation Buongiorno until they do their pullout. And that's the book. And then includes the book with the section where we lost Rob, and we had some other things like that went on. But it documents the whole story of Fob Todd, the people that were there, the MARSOC unit that was involved there. It's got great illustrations. It's got great graphics, clear color pictures, maps of the area to look at. It's fantastic. He's a fantastic dude. The first time I met him, he was running we were getting, all of our supplies came from airdrop. We didn't have any roads. So he was running out to get supply drops because he was pretty sure it was his weapons or fuel is the things you can shoot for. So he was pretty sure it was coming down with some ammo or something. So he's running out, and no one else is at the guard tower on the corner, and he's wearing nothing but his butt white skinnies on. And he's got this M4 in one arm, lashed around it like this, running as fast as he can trying to scout this little Hesco wall barrier and start like popping pop shots off to get people to get away from the ammo brat. I was like, dude, you're nuts. But you're right, it's a good book.
So one more time, name those 3 books. And the reason I'm asking, those 3 books, the link will be provided in the description of down below. So I encourage everybody to click on those links, buy those books, support Mike and the other gentleman. And if you can, just one more time, those 3 books, Mike.
So the first one is one that I wrote, and it's called Clark the Super Service Dog. And the next 2 were written by Michael Golumbensky. The first one is called Level 0 Heroes, and the second book is called Dagger 2-2. So help him out any way you can, and if you help out, even if you want to spread stuff for Christmas toys coming around, little kids' books, mine's pretty simple to read, and all the money goes back to help shelter animals and shelter profit dogs and service dogs and stuff like that. So I don't see a penny. So you might as well buy something nice and enjoyable for somebody else, and you learn a lot. It's a really cute book. It's a really cute book.
And I agree with Mike. Like I said, the links will be below. All you guys have to do is click on the links, show some support for these 2 gentlemen. One thing I want to emphasize what Mike just said, Bristol, he came from a shelter. He is a rescue dog. A lot of service dogs are rescue animals. So support, so we could give. The organization I use was K9 for Warriors, and they have a motto: you're saving lives on 2 ends. You're saving the service animal because they're in shelters, and then you're saving the veteran as well. So continue to support Mike. Like I said, the links are below, and just continue to show that love. What key lessons or takeaways do you hope listeners will gain from your story?
Man, I hope if anybody's listening to my story, I hope that you can take away the fact that the most important thing you can do for someone else is inspire hope. If you can inspire hope in them at their worst time, that is a greater gift you can give to somebody than anything you can imagine. It's better than $1 million because you don't know what that can buy you. If you can just stare at somebody and fill them with hope, that is what I would leave you with. Try to do that every day. If you can fill one person with hope every day, the world will be a better place. I promise you that forever.
Besides meeting your wife and the birth of your children, what is one of the happiest moments in your military career or in your life?
Happiest moments, military career, or my life? Oh man, I would say the flight. Honestly, it's weird. It would make no sense, but it would be that flight where I earned my DFC and sitting in that cockpit in that moment, like that, just self-realization moment that everything was going to go perfect. Just I don't know why, just something about it made sense.
That's deep. If there's anything you'd have to change about your life or could change about your life, what would be that one thing?
Oh man, if I would go back for any future company commanders, listen to this one. Be so much nicer to people with kids.
Hey, that's
it's so hard to be a soldier and a parent. I wish I would have known. I felt so bad when I finally was one. I was like, oh, I was an awful leader to these people that had 4 kids. Should have let them do it.
Damn. Like you hit it.
Commander, be nice to people with kids.
Man, you even made me realize that right now that I think we as people are insensitive to things that we're not experiencing at the time, right? Because even right now, when I have my daughter, a lot of the time during the week, the struggles I'm just having, just to, trying to go to work or trying to do this, and man, just looking back and thinking, how could people be insensitive about that stuff? And I realize it's not because some people want to be, but most of the time they're that way because they're not experiencing those difficulties. They just don't know, right? And that's crazy. What legacy do you want to leave behind for your friends and your family?
Oh, if my friends and my family, if they can leave behind, if I can leave them with the world knowing that they are loved by another, then that is what matters to me. Everyone needs to be not just needed, but everybody should deserve to feel wanted.
Damn, man, those are good. 3 words to describe yourself.
Loyal, hopeful, and enduring. I actually keep one of my tattoos here. It says endure. So this side of my arm is kind of like my war side. I've got some quotes and some stuff like that, and got my helicopter there. So endure there. I kind of have it scraped off because things are rubbing at you, but I try to endure. And then I kind of go to my more gradual side where I do have Superman as a symbol of hope, and I keep hope on one side. And the white lettering underneath looks like scar tissue, kind of. It's actually Kryptonian for hope. And I keep right here in this wrist my AA symbol to keep me sober.
How long you been sober?
Almost 8 years.
No,
October, 8 years.
Let's go. Man, that's fantastic. What's in the future for Mike? What does that look like for you?
Oh man, right now I just want to get back to getting my kids back in school, getting that schedule figured out because they're all like doing advanced level gymnastics now. I got to figure out what's going on with this ticker of mine. Why it's sending me to the heart for 5 days at a time. And and unfortunately we just had a foster dog pass away. So now we're going to look at the option of, she passed away on Friday, the day before we were able to come back from vacation. So now we're looking at options for another furry friend for the family. People think we're crazy because we like 4 dogs, but we have 4 humans. So I wish I had a dog, or else it's not fair. It's just not fair.
2-part question. If you had to go back and give the younger Mike any advice, what would it be?
Oh man, don't stop working out.
Don't stop working. I want the audience to hear that. Mike, say it one more time.
Don't stop working out.
Don't stop working out. This is something I say. In fact, I would just have this debate.
I cannot start again. I cannot. Like, it happened when I got sick. I was working out great. ILE doing great. Got sick in 2018. Got sick. I have not been to the gym or exercised since 2018. I am a horrible human being. I've lost 160 pounds doing it, but there's been no exercise.
You'll get there, man. Just take care of that heart. Just start walking if you can, right? Walk the dogs.
I take my dogs for dog walks. That'll count. That's exercise. It's outside cortisol releases.
Correct.
Yeah, let's say a 15-minute walk is one of the best cortisol supplements.
Correct. 2 things I think people underestimate: the power of exercising, just especially from a mental health standpoint. And when I say this, I've been training people for over 9 years, and I've been dealing with my own mental health and helping myself get to where I need to get to where I'm at today. 2 things people underestimate: the power of exercising and the power of the sun. It's like Superman. All right. There's a reason why Superman got all his healing powers from the sun. The same thing with human beings. It's not at that level. I get it. It's a movie. What I'm saying is 20 to 30 minutes out in the sun is going to do stuff for you that you could never imagine. So do not let people make you terrified of it. Get outside. Walk.
It's science. It's science.
Correct.
It's fun. It'll do it for you. I mean, hell, I remember my first daughter, first thing we had to do actually when she was home, because she had low bilirubin levels, was we had to stick her in the sun, like a little baby. I'm holding her up into the sun. I was like, this is crazy, but all right.
But it worked, right? Get outside, everybody. Please, I promise you, you will love it. The next part of that 2-part question is, what advice will you give your daughters?
Don't settle for anything less than true love. Don't settle for anything less than true love. And if you don't know if it is, it's not.
That's deep, Mike. How important, what you saying that, how important was it you deciding to marry your wife that day you saw her, knowing immediately that you were going to marry her?
That was it. That was the epitome of my life right there. That's it. Can't imagine life without her. Can't imagine what would have happened if I never met her. But that was it. And best decision I've ever made. Hands. Kids know too. I love your mom more than you guys.
All right. So meeting your wife, biggest decision of your life. Any final words?
Just have fun while you can. Enjoy it. Every year is going to go by faster than the last. You're always going to wish you were somewhere better, or you want to get somewhere there. By the time you get there, you're going to wish you were still back where you were, because it's going to go by too quick. Hang on to your precious family moments. don't think that the Army or the military or whatever corporation you work for is in charge of your life. You have one, and the only people that are going to be there with you at the end, holding your hand when it's your day, hopefully you get that chance, it's going to be those family members that love you more than life itself and that are going to pass down your story to future generations. Because I guarantee you, no other ex-general that I used to work for as an aide 5 years ago is going to tell his great-grandchild of what Senior Major Michael did on the ex-air trip to Bolivia. No, and your kids. Define your life. Keep a record for your kids. There's products out there. I gave them to my mom and my dad. It's called Memento. It's amazing. It'll help them go through and answer questions once a week and build a book. Leave a legacy for your kids. Leave something for them to remember. Spend time with them. Build memories. Build those memories.
How important was it with you saying all that? Because I agree with you 100%. It's something I'm trying to be intentional about now. How important was it that your parents did that for you?
Oh my gosh. It was, I don't know how they did it either, because there's three of us and my dad's active duty. My mom's like partially active duty or reserves, and she's nursing if she's not. And she's moving all this stuff. And we're moving all over the world, Korea, Saudi Arabia, Germany, England, like how she does all of this stuff and how they're still there for us to set this loving example of how they will always be at our stuff. Even if I didn't want my dad there, I used to tell him, no, I don't want you there. I don't, because it would make me nervous. And I was like, I don't want to fail under in front of your eyes. But that's not really what he saw. He's just like, so even now I get it to my kids. Like, I will be there. Like, if it's on your calendar, I will be there. Trust me. Dad will be there.
I agree with you 100%. There's one thing I tell my kids, listen, I'm coming. If you like it or not, I'm showing up.
I'm showing up.
Two reasons. One, I don't want to miss out on those moments. All right. Those are moments that I want to capture as a dad. And two, later on, I don't want you to say, well, dad didn't come to this, and that.
Exactly.
We're not doing that. Dad's going to be there.
You can delete that part out of your brain, but I'm going to get my recording right here.
Correct. So I'm going to be there. Man, Mike, it's been such a pleasure having you on today.
Oh, you too, man. I've had a great time.
Getting to know you, man. You are a true American hero. Just hearing your stories, that moment you sitting in the cockpit, you pre-planning to dropping that ammo in that water for the guys that are pinned down. And it takes individuals like you that make our country what it is today. And no matter what's going on in the current climate in our country, it's going to continue to be great Americans like you that are going to help us always be the tip of the spear and be that worldwide change. So, man, it's been an honor meeting you. It's the first time, besides our conversations on the phone, first time I'm sitting down, getting to know you, and it's been a great honor and pleasure of mine. I want to thank you, man, for one, having that resilience and courage. That's one thing we didn't talk about today, courage. You have so much courage, from being afraid to getting in the cockpit to being out there helping people, not really wanting to fly, but you did those things anyways. And I think that's a true testament of courage.
Thank you.
Teach your children that. And man, you're on the right path. As I always say, I'm a phone call away. If you need any help with, the book, anything, need somebody to talk to, reach out. I'm here. You and I already discussed it. If you have some serious issues, just not you, the whole audience, please reach out to the people you need to. The number will be at the end of this recording. It's 988. All right. You dropped some great nuggets today, Mike, and I do appreciate everything. And in closing, stay bold, stay fearless, resilience wins battles, and story shape legacies. This is Heroes Have Wings. I'm your host, Jason Santiago. This is my great guest and now hopefully friend, Mike Connelly. Okay. Thank you for sharing your story, Mike. And guys, please click on those links below. Support Mike. Support the 2 other books.
Support the animals. They're so free.
And remember, share, like, follow, subscribe, keep helping me grow this channel so we can get more stories out there. Everybody have a good night, and we'll see you on the next episode. Thank you for tuning in to Heroes Have Wings, where we honor the extraordinary stories of grit, sacrifice, and resilience. Remember, every hero's journey starts with a single step, so take yours today. If you love this episode, like, subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who needs to hear it. Until next time, keep pushing limits, breaking barriers, and living your truth. I'm your host, Jason Santiago, and this is Heroes Have Wings, where legends rise.